It's Tuesday, the 19th of November 2024, and just 18 more days to go for the 2024 presidential and parliamentary elections. Welcome, folks, to the AM show on Joy News, your home of independent, fearless, and credible journalism. This morning, let me tell you why the AM show is absolutely worth waking up for. Because first, we serve you the latest updates on all the stories that matter to you in the AM News Bulletin. And after that, we'll sit with our guests. Today being a Tuesday, Wisdom Dogbe and Kojo Poku will be joining us. Wisdom Dogbe is a financial analyst and Kojo Poku is an energy analyst. They'll both be joining us to review the newspapers for a news review segment. After that, we'll bring you AM Sports. Muftan Abil Abdullahi will be on that beat to tell you more from the world of sports. Now, for our big stories this morning, we're looking at the outbreak of cholera in the central region specifically. There have been 7 people who've lost their lives so far, 47 confirmed cases, and 720 suspected cases across these 8 districts. The Central Regional Health Directorate is setting up public education on preventive measures against the cholera outbreak in the region. And we'll hear from the Ghana Health Service as well on the measures to contain this disturbing situation. It appears every year we have to deal with this. Also, propaganda and rumors have no place in education. That is what the Chief of Staff, Remo Pare, is saying as she takes on the Member of Parliament for Northong, Samuel Okujeto Ablakwa, on that expired rice saga. So what really is the truth and what is fiction? We'll delve into these matters as our guest will join us later on the AM show. But you're also invited to join us with your comments and your thoughts, either via phone or across social media platforms. We are Joy News on TV. Please stay with us from now till 10 a.m. when we serve you a cocktail of issues, analysis, and everything to make your day. My name is Sweetie Abochi. Let's get into the AM News now. This is the AM News. Let's start from our election headquarters, which is brought to you in association with Petrosol Platinum Energy, Energizing Dreams, Chopbox Technologies, a convenient service, German Ozone Alternative Therapy, Dental Wellness and Beauty, CIMA, the Chartered Institute of Management Accountants, and AICPA, and together as the Association of International Certified Professional Accountants, Youth Bridge Foundation, Bridging Gaps for Positive Youth Development, Syntex Tanks, Air Strong, Air Tough. Potential Real Estate, your trusted partner in real estate, the Luxy Paint, Paints Mu Champion. Now this morning, the NPP presidential candidate Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia has unveiled plans to position Ghana as a leading medical tourism destination in West Africa. Speaking in the Kumewu constituency, he outlined his vision for a modern, well-equipped healthcare system, including state-of-the-art hospital facilities to attract global visitors. His remarks followed a request from Kumahuyene Berima Safo Trinebo Akodua. There's more in this report.
I'm an expert in all of these hospitals. I want to equip all the hospitals here with all these first-class machinery, MRI, CT scan. Ghana, with our Agenda 111, no, you be a medical tourist destination in the sub-region. You first-class machinery. Nipa be free for medical tourism. So it's very important. Me was in Shisheno, be person mediba Ghana ha. And dear Adawa Koma Sopa, a nursing training college. What kind of so? The idea Miss Sumi and GES, the nursing training college has been approved for Kumewu. It has been approved. And the SHS here and Sikano so the cost of it. Approve Sikano. So it is going to be done. As for the accreditation, any problem. And my instruction na na accreditation no it will not be any problem.
The Central region has often served as a decisive bellwether in presidential elections. As the December polls draw close, most political actors have started crisscrossing one another to win the region's heart, which is consistently aligned with the winning presidential candidate. The latest to send his campaign to the area is independent candidate Nana Kwame Bediako, who is urging the region to break the duopoly of the NDC and the NPP. There is more in the following report by Central Regional correspondent Eric Asante.
Nana Kwame Bediako was welcomed by teeming crowds, predominantly market women, eager to hear his vision for the country when he visited the Kaswa market in the Wutu Senior East constituency. He criticized assertive government for failing to industrialize the nation, lamenting the collapse of factories established during Kwame Nkrumah's era. The independent candidate urged the people of Kaswa to vote for change, rejecting the dominance of the two main political parties.
Adia Kwame Nkrumah bia kra ye mfidie dwom adwuma nyina o ma cross ni nyina enti ye before na ya na ye ho abro enti na me say come 7th of December this man standing in front of you I came with 12 pillars and I am number 12 on the ballot and I have 12 ministers and on the 12th month of this year let's come together mumayen tuomo.
The tour by the new force made its way to Swedro in the Aguna West constituency, where in his address, Nana Kwame Bediako urged the people of Swedro to remember him not for his t-shirts, but for his vision for the country.
Parties now, Omajimo Masum free Mohano. Parties now, Omajimo economies free Mohano. Those leaders are not leaders out of this 276 town. I had to stop here. Now it's a semi-general. Now I'm semi-free here. And your t-shirt I'm the man I've come. Nemom Obekai Sabagrubi Abahano Kachrewo or Kachrewo say. Use your thumb. Falco Mochino. Mufan decide BB. Namopati Sakrono. You will remember this moment. Say Miana Mebana Miame Kachrewo.
In the Futu constituency, Nana Kwame Bediako also addressed enthusiastic crowd in Winneba, where he passionately highlighted the lack of jobs in a region known for hosting Ghana's top academic institutions.
Listen, they have not only lied to us, but they've lied to a nation. They've lied to a country. They have disappointed us. They have made us waste our time in institutions, in organizations. We have spent decades, but they don't have any jobs for us. They don't have any future for us. They don't have any hope for us. But yet they say that they are our leaders. If we don't do something about it, something will do something to us. It's time that we wake up and activate our courage, and we should refuse to follow something that cannot take us somewhere.
With just weeks to the December 7 elections, Nana Kwame Bediako is making a strong case for his independent candidacy, as he calls on Ghanaians to reject the dominance of the NDC and the NPP. From the Central Region, my name is Eric Asante for Joy News.
The Ghana Union of Traders Association, that is GUTA members in Ejumako, are calling on the government to prioritize the financial needs of small and medium enterprises by providing accessible loans to boost their businesses. This call was made by the chairman of the Ejumako chairman, Albert Oparisel, during the inauguration ceremony of GUTA in Ejumako Inyan Isiam district. There's more in the following report by Central Regional correspondent Eric Asante.
The ceremony was on the theme Unifying Traders Under One Umbrella, a catalyst for protection and education. Addressing members, the chairman of GUTA Ejumako, Albert Oparisel, emphasized the crucial role SMEs play in Ghana's economy. He called on government to implement policies that would enable SMEs to access low interest rates.
In the Ejumako Inyan Isiam district, you see, mainly it's trading. So government should support it with SME loans with low interest so that we can develop our business and employ the youth. That is the only thing that can assist us. We should be assisted by SME loans in the Jumaku Enyan Isiam district, Ghana Union of Traders, so that we can expand our businesses and take those who are not working, those who are not unemployment people. We can take them. If money has been given to us with low interest, we can expand our businesses. And that one can help the youth. That one can help the youth to also have something to do.
The regional chairman of GUTA, Mr. Paul Kofi McCarthy, urged the government to collaborate with financial institutions to design SME-friendly loans for GUTA members.
For my members, the great challenges that we are facing is the money aspect, the financial aspect. You know, we are traders. If anything to go by, we cannot be getting any contract. Let's say we are being a contractor to go and construct a road. Or whatever we do is we trade. So we need money to do our business. So when you go to the banks and they are giving us huge sum of interest for us to pay, then at the end of the day, our businesses, if we want to go into a very long-term trading, then in a short while, you see that the business will just collapse. So I'm entreating all and sundries who are into financial, let's say, organizations to come and help those people in the market, so that at the end of the day, they can also be in business without collapsing.
As the December 2024 election draw close, National Secretary Alhaji Alpha Abdullahi is warning members of GUTA and other associations not to allow themselves to be used by politicians.
GUTA has been in existence and we went through turbulence, but we still are strong because we remain focused. So I advise every association that is well-meaning to avoid politics, not to double in politics, and not to allow people to drag them to politics, because if the moment they are corrupt, morally and spiritually, they are weak and cannot provide any leadership.
The traders in the Jumaku are hopeful that the government will heed GUTA's call and introduce concrete measures to support SMEs. From Jumaku in the Central Region, my name is Eric Asante for Joy News.
Alhaji Nuhu Mahama, a member of the WA Central NDC Council of Elders, has attributed rising transportation costs in the region to the neglect of roads, particularly the Wa-Bole-Bamboy stretch. He highlighted the impact of poor roads on businesses and vehicle maintenance. Speaking at an Arise for Change program, he urged voters to support John Dramani Mahama to address the issue. Joy News Upper West Regional Correspondent Rafiq Salam reports.
Addressing drivers, traders and supporters of the National Democratic Congress NDC at Repackaged, National Chairman for Arise for Change for Economic Growth, DS Mahama, lashed out at the MPP for the hardship that they have subjected Ghanaians to for almost 8 years. Using the surge in inflation and fuel prices to buttress his claim, he asserted that the MPP told a lot of lies on the NDC, labeling them as incompetent in managing the country's economy, adding that, given the opportunity, they will manage the situation better. He, however, noted that the situation is worse under the MPP.
As I'm talking to you, when you look at even their term, the fuel price was 14 Ghana cedis. Today, I'm talking to you, the fuel price is 100 Ghana cedis. But they won't tell you the truth. They will say, oh, the fuel is 70 Ghana cedis. Look, if you want to know that the fuel is 100 Ghana cedis, just get a gallon. Go to the filling station. Tell them that, look, give me a fuel of 1 gallon. They will fill and then it will reach 70 cedis. Tell them that add. They will add and it will shoot 100 Ghana cedis.
A member of the NDC Council of Elders in the WA Central constituency, Alhaji Nuhu Mahama, spoke about the deliberate neglect of some important infrastructure projects that were started by the NDC, but which has now been deliberately neglected. He penciled the Wa-Bole-Bamboy Road as one of them, which is now affecting their businesses.
Since Nana Akufo-Addo came into power, we know what we have been experiencing at drivers and load owners at this Cholera Park. There have been a lot of increment of fuel and other nonsense levies on our vehicles. At the same time, our roads have been deteriorating day in and day out, which is making it impossible to maintain our vehicles. When your mama was in power, he was about to Alpha from Tajima to Hambele. But unfortunately, he couldn't do it before he left office. If we go to Tuna right now, the quarry there, you can see that they are piling up construction equipment to start the roads. So as soon as we vote, the next day, NDC will start its work by tarring the Bole Bombo Road at Alpha.
Apa Wasuja chairman for Arise for Change for Economic Growth, Dr. Isaac Munawar, urged the people to vote for change and the NDC to better their lives.
Let us all rise and work very hard from our various areas. If you are a dressmaker, if you are a tailor, if you are a farmer, if you are a teacher, if you are a driver, if you are a manager of drivers, if you are selling pure water, whatever you are doing, let's rise. You have to vote for your president and vote for your member of parliament.
Reporting for Joy News, Rafiq Salam. Wow.
6 ambassadors in the Greater Accra region have been inducted for the 2025 Ghana Science and Tech Explorer Prize Challenge, aiming to inspire the next generation of Ghanaian innovators. The new ambassadors will play a key role in assisting the participating schools in the upcoming competition. Joan Nyame has more in the following report, read to you.
And so we go in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, start work.
In a bid to inspire young minds in science and technology, 6 ambassadors have been inducted into the Youth Steering Group of Ghana Science and Tech Explorer Prize for 2025. The induction held in Accra saw parents, students, and leaders gather to celebrate this next generation of innovators. Among the newly inducted ambassadors is Adelaide Mantibia Mante, who expressed her excitement at being selected.
When I signed up for the program, I didn't know so much about it. I basically just thought we were going to be volunteering for the G-Step challenge, but then I've come to realize that it's so much more than just volunteering and then being part of the event. It also includes mentorship sessions and building our communication skills. So I'm very excited to be part of this opportunity.
A parent, Abdulaziz Kote Nikwe, praised the G-Step challenge, describing it as a major step in nurturing the innate potentials of the youth.
Great thanks to the sponsors and organizers for bringing up such a laudable program to actually help our youth, especially to come out, to participate in a program that will actually make them be, people of their own in future. Because in most at times we have our kids having much potentials in them. But without opportunities like this, their potentials are not being able to be unlocked. And I believe that with such programs, it enables our kids to actually get the potentials that are hidden in them to be unlocked.
The executive director of Dream Oval Foundation, Oforiwa Isiama Eji, highlighted the importance of this competition in fostering STEM and leadership skills in young students.
Today's program, which is the Youth Steering Group induction of the G-STEP program, is meant to honor young people we have selected who want to give back to the G-STEP participants. We found these young people who are leaders in their community and who are excited to help change and to invest in their communities and in education.
The 6 ambassadors will support participating schools in Greater Accra in areas such as operations, communication, research, and community action. Meanwhile, the application deadline for the 2025 G-Step Challenge has been extended to the 18th of November 2024. Junior high schools in Accra, Eastern, and Ashanti regions are encouraged to apply and participate. Juan Nyame's report for Joy News.
Nurses at the Bombon Health Center say they can now conduct delivery without worry that the lights at their facility would go off. According to the nurses, they sometimes can have the lights go off for 3 or more days, forcing them to use flashlights to conduct delivery and other services at the facility. But with the commissioning of a solar system, they now have 24-hour water and electricity to ensure effective work. The facility was commissioned by the NDC flag bearer John Dramani Mahama. There's more in this report.
The water system is a hybrid solution referred to as Wash Plus, designed to provide 24-hour uninterrupted water and electricity supply to the health center. The mechanized system uses solar as the primary source of energy, whilst the grid comes in as a backup. The refurbished facility also has seen an upgrade in the provision of pipes and sinks in major places of the facility, including the delivery room. It also has a decent place of convenience. Speaking to Joy News, the head of the facility, Michael Kujokuma, said this would improve healthcare delivery.
In fact, without the water, it was very difficult for us for health, because of we are trying to prevent cross-infection from a patient to patient and from the health worker to a patient. So it was a problem. What we used to do was we used to go and buy this water. We buy water from the community here, and people were going, I think, the care that we normally have here, they were doing those things. They would bring the water, we buy, and the water was not enough for us because we need so much water to carry out our facilities, our activities here. So there wasn't much water here. And we weren't having that fund to continue to buy water. So it was just a problem for us getting water supply running throughout the day or even throughout the month. We're having water supply challenge. But sometimes you are called in time of labor cases. You go, and before the lights go off, you have to use your torch light and everything. And without the light, it affects the work that we're supposed to do or to render to our patient. And so when they came and installed this light here, in fact, the solar, it has really helped us. It has improved our work. Now, when the lights go off, you come to this facility, you see that the whole place is brighter. All the rooms, the emergency that we are having, we are able to attend to.
The National Democratic Congress candidate, John Dramani Mahama, and the chief commissioned the project. 2 of the health workers, Levanus Vilta and his colleague, said this would help improve work at the facility and also their personal lives.
It means a lot to us because the water, we were having challenges after delivery, and then the women during the dry season, when they come to deliver, they have to fetch water from their houses and come. And then after delivery, we have to wash the instrument. And then to prevent infection from cross-infection from our hands to the pregnant women, and even disinfecting the whole area will be a difficult task for us. But now the water have come, be flowing here. We're able to disinfect our instruments, wash after use our hands to prevent infection.
The water problem is very stressful. You've been here, you have to look for the community members to buy water. And the water from here is very far. And at times, even if you're holding the money to buy the water, you might not even get it. It takes, sometimes you wake up, you want water to bath and come to work early, but there's no water. So sometimes you might end up coming to work very late. So I think the water was something that is actually stressing us a lot.
Ghana is set to gather its first in-depth data on accommodation sector through a nationwide survey to be conducted by the Ghana Statistical Service. The data gathered is expected to provide valuable insight into government policies, industry regulations, and investment strategies in Ghana's growing tourism and hospitality sectors. There's more in the following report by Central Regional correspondent Erica Asante again.
Accommodation facilities are vital to the tourism sector of every economy. Currently, there is limited reliable data on types, locations, occupancy rates, and conditions of accommodation facilities across the country. With Ghana's tourism sector projected to be the third largest foreign exchange earner by 2027, accurate data on accommodation is essential. Speaking at the closing ceremony of the 2024 Accommodation Unit Survey in Winneba, Professor Kweku Boakye, chairperson of the National Technical Advisory Committee of the Accommodation Unit Survey, underscored the importance of the survey to the tourism sector.
One of 4 surveys that we are conducting to understand the broader picture of tourism in Ghana. We've already done 3 of them, being the Ghana International Traveller Survey, the Domestic Outbound Traveller Survey, and this is the 3rd of them, which is the Accommodation Unit Survey. And we are conducting this survey because we know anecdotally that tourists spend at least between 40 to 60% of their expenditure is covered by accommodation. So we do believe that the accommodation subsector contributes greatly to the promising prospects of tourism. And that's why we want to conduct this baseline survey to understand the nature, size, and component of the accommodation sector.
The survey would cover all 261 districts across Ghana's 16 administrative regions. Professor Boakye explains how the survey will be conducted and what areas it will focus on.
We are covering a total of 1,077 hotels spread across the various scales or the various grades. Some of them have been purposely chosen. All 3 to 5 star hotels have been purposely chosen. So they are part of this, the survey automatically. And then we've sampled the rest of them across the country.
For his part, the president of the Ghana Hotels Association, Dr. Edward Akanyamike, indicated that the association recognized the importance of data to the growth of their industry.
Oh yes, we've been giving data already as an industry, because if you cast your mind, you would know that we pay value-added tax, we pay NHIL, GET fund, we pay to regulatory bodies, we consume electricity, consume water, and we pay all of those things. All those things are information or data. But this exercise is a well-coordinated one with a structured questionnaire which touches on all aspects of the business.
With the data expected to be available next year, stakeholders are optimistic that this survey would provide a solid foundation for strategic improvement in Ghana's tourism and hospitality sectors. For Joy News, my name is Eric Asante, Winneba.
Coming up next is Business Updates with Benjamin Akapo.
Let's head right into our first story. An energy strategist, Dr. Yusuf Suleimana, has hinted that consumers of petroleum products would see a further reduction in prices of fuel at the pumps if the forex remains stable. He argues although the price of crude oil has been dropping on the world market, the government must ensure that forex is also stable to enable consumers to benefit from the fall in the price of the commodity. He spoke to Joy Business.
Yeah, the only excuse is the FX, Pius. But I think with the drop and the projections forward, we should have some marginal drop.
By what margin?
The market is, up to 1 to 2% at least, maximum 5%. Yeah. That is also the condition is just the FX. It depends on what kind of FX that they are using. If the FX remains stable, we'll have a drop, definitely, undoubtedly, because the international prices are very, very favorable as we speak now. And going forward, we'll likely, like I mentioned, we'll likely see depressed prices as we go forward in the international front.
Let's talk insurance now, as players in that industry have resolved to leverage artificial intelligence to put out innovative products while addressing the growing needs of their customers. According to the CEO, sector head of Heirs Insurance Group, comprising Heirs Life Assurance, Heirs General Insurance, and Heirs Insurance Brokers, Ni Onifade, one of the surest ways of improving insurance coverage within the sub-region is to deploy technology and products to meet the needs of the market. He spoke to Joy Business after delivering a speech at the West African Insurance Companies Association conference on the theme Artificial Intelligence and the Future of Insurance in the Sub-region.
Artificial intelligence has come to stay, and I believe that one of the ways through which we can increase insurance penetration in West Africa is through the deployment of artificial intelligence. Today we talk about penetration rates being very, very low in West Africa. In fact, in Africa generally, because by the time you exclude South Africa from the figures, then the rest of Africa is doing less than 1%. You understand? So I believe that we can do more through the deployment of technology, deployment of artificial intelligence, and we stand to gain a lot by doing that. I mean, we talk about speed to execution. We talk about improving our customer experience, deepening the insurance penetration. We also talk about even the development of new products.
Well, what are the movements on the currency market, the moves, the shakes? Well, we gave you details of that now. It's a duku. It's a wrap for business. Handing over back to Sweetie Abochi.
Thank you for passing the duku to me, Benjamin. Let's get ready for the news review segment. It's Tuesday, so your guess is as good as mine. Kojo Poku, energy analyst, and Wisdom Dogbe, financial analyst, are joining us to review the newspapers. We're back in a bit. Well, it's Tuesday, the 19th of November, 2024, and you're live on the news review segment on the AM show, the Ben and Sweetie show. We're about to take off. Benjamin Akapo, you haven't seen you smile this morning yet.
It's that kind of morning. When I spoke to you this morning,
I hope my energy wraps off you. I'm in high spirits.
When I spoke to you this morning, I'm sure you got a feel. Yeah. You could tell from the voice. But it is what it is. So
sometimes it happens. But I mean, we're looking forward to our favorite deal this morning. We have Kojo Poku, energy analyst, and Wisdom Dogbe, financial analyst, joining us to review the newspapers this morning. Good morning, gentlemen. If you're with us, let's hear. Let's hear you say something. We're testing the microphone.
Good morning. Good morning. I like the way you said Ben and Sweetie show.
Yeah. Okay, Wisdom F1.
Good morning, guys.
Okay, so, gentlemen, let me start with Kojo Poku. Kojo Poku, what will be your 2-minute take for us this morning?
Well, Asante for Muchemi na Mebo Machin. Well, it's a good thing. I spoke here because we are in the Ashanti region. We've been here for 2 weeks.
Right.
And at the end of today, we'll mark when Dr. Baumia has done all 16 regions twice. We have done 265 constituencies out of the 276. The only presidential candidate that has done that in this election. It tells you that the man means business. He's out there giving out his bold solutions. The beautiful sight yesterday was in Aswansi when you go to the Lions Den, where we know we've never won the Aswansi seat. So we are very excited about the responses and the feedback that we got. We drove through the municipality of Asokore-Mampong, which is Aswansi, and the response, everybody showing one when we were driving through. So it means that, look, things are well. We are just praying that come 3 weeks from today, Ghanaians will go out in their numbers and make Dr. the president that we all hope he's going to be.
All right. Thank you for making it brief. Wisdom, it's your turn now.
Sweetie, I read that a rating agency, Fitch, will move Ghana out of a sovereign default by middle of next year once we complete all of our standard debt restructuring processes. That is a good thing for the nation. And I'm quite optimistic that as we continue to make progress with our debt issues, together with other sound policies and reforms, I think our economic outlook should improve, especially with responsible and also competent leadership to lead the nation into that economic recovery that we desire and need as a nation. And I did mention this some time ago that our credit worthiness should improve. And with this debt restructuring, that should help boost investor confidence and hopefully, attract new sources of financing into the country. Also, with the declining of our debt servicing costs through this restructuring effort, it is good for the perception of our debt sustainability. So I'm not surprised to hear that Fitch will move Ghana out of the sovereign default rating next year. So let's hope all of these can positively impact inflation because we wouldn't need to borrow excessively to continue our scheme of borrowing to pay back other loans. And this could help to stabilize the exchange rate and improve market confidence for investment, which are all good to reverse the depreciation of the cedi.
Right.
And finally, I would always say this. Hopefully, we can learn the lesson and become more fiscally responsible as a nation and pursue policies that will help prevent, another unfortunate debt crisis in the future.
Okay, thank you so much, gentlemen. Let's get straight down to business. I'll start with the Ghanaian Times newspaper. On the front page, end Galamsey cases in 2024, Attorney General says to the courts. And we have this picture here. Cholera kills 7 in Central Region, a rather sad situation. I think in addition to 7 deaths, there are about 47 confirmed cases and about 200 and something suspected cases in the Central Region. Later on the AM show, we'll have a conversation on that and how we can stem the tide. Ghana needs campaign financing framework to regulate spending. And, well, let's get straight into it. These are just the stories on the front page. So the Attorney General and Minister for Justice, Godfrey Aboadame, has expressed concern about long adjournments in some legal mining cases in courts across the country. And he expressed his reservations on the back of recent developments in the ongoing proceedings in the Circuit Court and High Courts in Sekondi and Takoradi Western Region. And speaking to the Ghanaian Times on Sunday, Mr. Dame, who has made strenuous efforts to prosecute persons engaged in illegal mining, also known as Galamsey, said it was his wish that the courts deliver judgment in all Galamsey cases before the end of 2024. If that actually happens, I think most of us would be happy, to say the least. 2 more killed, others injured in Boko clashes. 2 more people were killed and several others suffered gunshot wounds during violent clashes in Daduri, a suburb of Boko in the Upper East region last Thursday. And the violence, which involved gun battle, led to 2 houses being set ablaze, further intensifying the area's ongoing security crisis. And this incident brings Boko's recent death toll to 25, following the killing of an elderly man last week who was attacked on his way home from the hospital. Let me put a pin in this and rush through the entire paper, and I'll come to you, gentlemen. Electrician gets 3 years for stealing woman's 40,000 Ghana cedis. In Ugandan, TikToker jailed for insulting president. Gabon approves law allowing junta leader to contest elections. Counting costs, losing lives. Ghana's hypertension emergency. We should take this seriously. Trump's Trump card. This is an editorial. I do want to get into this hypertension emergency briefly. So, Kwabena Ejiri, a 47-year-old Mason from Kwabeng in Ghana's eastern region, thought he knew his body. Years of battling fatigue, headache. Okay, so it's a story about someone and how they're battling hypertension. Okay, let's move on. Dr. Bawumia will revitalize economy if elected. Mahama commends Ebusuapenyi Crenshaw for building community health center for Enyan Denchira. Keep protesting, says Navalny's widow at Berlin March. And at least 34 killed in Israeli strike in northern Gaza. Back here in Ghana, Employment Minister presents 12 more pickups to PECS. That's the Public Employment Center across the country. And Ghana Gas committed to building local expertise. These are some other some stories here in the Ghanaian Times newspaper. You can pick one for yourself and get into it. But I do want to hear your quick reflections on some of these stories. Wisdom Dogbe, let me start with you.
Sorry, my thoughts and prayers are with the families of those that lost their lives to this cholera outbreak.
Yeah.
And I'm praying that the health officials can get the necessary intervention for the folks and stop the spread of cholera and help the people in those communities. But I would like to divert my attention to Galamsey quickly. I would say kudos to the Attorney General for responding to the public outcry about the menace of Galamsey. You know, starting to prosecute some of these, the folks accused of illegal mining and polluting our water bodies and destroying our forests.
Yeah.
That is a good response from the Attorney General to the public protest. I wish they had started prosecuting these illegal miners sooner, but better late than never, they say. Look, in this fight to stop illegal mining, I think we need to implement, stronger regulation and enforcement as a deterrent. And that is what these prosecutions will do. It will send a strong case to others that they will face the full rigors of the law if caught in Galamsey. So we need to also strengthen or improve our law enforcement. I've heard of instances where foreign nationals are arrested for illegal mining, but are later released because there is no one, supposedly there is no one to bail them. If this is true, what kind of deterrent, sweetie, are we providing to these foreigners to prevent them from breaking the law with impunity in the sector? So I hope these those that are being prosecuted are not only Ghanaians, but all nationals who have been caught breaking our laws in the sector. And we should also prioritize training and enable law enforcement agencies, to effectively act on tips and investigate and prosecute others who are still operating illegal mines, both citizens and foreign nationals alike.
Thank you. Ojopoku, your take now, but I do want to find out from you, do you think the fight against illegal mining is still on? Do you think we are actively
It's always been on. And like I wanted to comment, look, prosecution of illegal miners did not start because of a demonstration. People in the court have been in the court way before these demonstrations. There's been prosecution, there's been arrest, and there's fight of Galamsey from day one. The fact that within a space of 2 weeks, the NDC went and paid money to people to make noise doesn't make it look like that was when the fight against Galamsey started.
Is this a fact?
Let me make my statement.
But Kojopoku, hold on a second. This is your time to reflect. I will not interject you, but you make a statement like that. I must ask you if you can back it with facts. You said the NDC paid money.
Well, we've seen the accusation and counter accusation on social media.
So they're accused. You don't know for a fact that.
Can I ask a question? The Galamsey fight is still ongoing. How come all of a sudden there isn't a single whisper of this Galamsey conversation? You remember about 3 weeks, 4 weeks ago, every single turn, we have even priests going on demonstration or going on a vigil, right? So you should know that there was an attempted support of this. And look, I've heard people on social media with facts accuse people on Twitter of collecting money. Well, I stand to be wrong. I stand to be wrong if that's not true. But look, for my information I have, the NDC, they sponsor people onto the streets and they sponsor people to do these things. And like I'm saying, the fight against Galamsey is ongoing. The fight against Galamsey will always continue. It wasn't today that it started. It's not tomorrow that it's going to end. Right. This government has fought Galamsey. The prosecution, we all heard about Aisha One, the lady who was basically prosecuted in jail because she was involved in Galamsey. Did it start today? It did not. So please, let's move on and let it stop making it sound like the government was doing nothing and it took demonstration to bring the government to act. That's not true. Now, the point I want to talk about is I think there should be special courts. There are lots of cases that we have in court Now, when you have cases like the Galamsey cases and all that, and you throw it into the ordinary court system, I think it would delay. So what I think the Attorney General should do is for us to do a review of the judicial services and create special courts for some of these acts. Because look, you need to have focus in the fight against Galamsey. And I think that we should have special courts prosecuting Galamsey.
Thank you, but I do want to put out that allegation, we cannot back it with the facts. It's his opinion of what actually happened based on information he has. Wisdom.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to call out pretty quickly, and then we can move on, right? We have, look, a lot of people watch your show. When we come on, we should be able to share information that can be backed up.
Are you a host now? Are you a host now?
No, I just want to call this. I agree.
Let's let Abochi do it.
Look, quickly, I'll be done. I agree with you when you talked about special courts. That makes sense. That's a common sense approach to solving this. But when you say make statements like NDC is sponsoring folks to demonstrate, I mean, come on, you should be able to retract that statement.
Well, I will retract it when the people who went on demonstration halfway through the demonstration started singing the party anthem of the NDC. I will retract it.
Okay, so gentlemen, hold on for a second. Gentlemen, both of you, hold on for a second. Hold on for a second. Let's move on from here. Benjamin, let's do your paper now.
Unfortunately, I'm also going down that same road. You see, I find it distasteful, and this morning I'm going to say this, because Kojo makes mention of people getting paid. Then he mentions priests. I'm Catholic. I participated in the Catholic March in the Archdiocese against Galamsey.
Yeah.
Our Archbishop was part of it. Many people, even non-Catholics, were there. So especially when he mentions priests, I'm wondering whether we were also singing NDC, anthems, and we were also there because we were paid. We have to be circumspect. We have to be very careful.
But Ben, I did not say
Please. But
I did not say that.
Hold for me. You mentioned priests, did you not?
No, but not in.
Did you mention priests or not?
You bring to the show. I did not say that.
Fine.
So
you hold on.
I did not say that.
You can make whatever statements and refuse to, but mind you, as you do so here, if someone else someday suggests something without facts, don't get offended. And
I'm not offended,
I also feel that the
I
example about Aisha Huang falls flat on its face. How did we deal with Aisha Huang? With kid gloves. In fact, we let her escape the jurisdiction. And she came back and did more damage. So even the use of the example of Aisha Huang is baffling for me. But let's move on into the papers. The Daily Graphic, GSA uncovers unapproved material in mattress production. I'll get into that story. AG prosecutes 15 illegal mining cases. You've already delved into that. Ban surface mining, statesman to government. I'll get into this story, and we'll see whether enough has been done. Sign on to Africa Responsible Mineral Sourcing Initiative, mineral-rich African countries urged. 2024 National Education Week launched. On the back page, 7 dead, 47 confirmed cases, cholera outbreak in central region. Investigate expired rice distribution to senior high schools. NDC caucus urges president. But let me start from here. On page 3, this is not a story per se. There are two things here, and I just want to bring them up for health reasons because of some of the things I see, I hear, I know. This one says diabetic retinopathy. Diabetic retinopathy is a complication from diabetes. It causes irreversible blindness and low vision. You can take precautions by having your doctor do a special examination as soon as possible and regularly. Your sight is invaluable. I know why I'm mentioning these two, because beneath it, it says eye pressure. Every eye has a certain amount of pressure. This is central to glaucoma. Do you know your eye pressure? So this morning, I saw these on, and I've been hearing a lot of stories, some of us who have 4 eyes, so to speak. We get tested often and all that. Check your eyes out, and especially if you're diabetic, you never know what could be going on. I'll start from the back page. Investigate expired rice distribution to senior high schools. Now, the National Democratic Congress caucus in Parliament has called on President Akufo-Addo to set up a commission of inquiry to investigate the alleged distribution of expired and contaminated rice to senior high schools across the country. They said 22,000 bags of 50 kg Moshosho rice imported from India had allegedly expired on December 20, 2023, yet they were allegedly repackaged into white 50 kg polypropylene bags as made in Ghana rice with the inscription CDAO, or like you would have the Francophones call ECOWAS, Regional Food Security Reserve, and distributed to the schools. It goes on and on. We know the story, so I'll not do any overkill here. But I have some questions on that story. Yesterday, we listened to the PRO for the Education Ministry, Kwesi Kwarteng, and you see the headline in the Daily Guide saying, rice fed to SHS students, not rotten. But my question, there was not FDA approval for Laments to go ahead and do this. Why did they rebag? And, you know, some of the things that happened just leave you wondering what exactly happened and why we ended up here. There are so many things I could bring up, but I'll leave it there. Let me go to the ban on surface mining, and I'll do one more story, and that's it. A statesman and retired accounting and business advisory expert has recommended a total ban on surface mining, including alluvial mining in the country. Ebenezer Magnus Boy, a consummate accountant and traditional leader, stressed that the current surface mining regime, as pertained in the small-scale mining sector, was largely accountable for the devastation of the environment and pollution of water bodies. He described as hypocritical the situation where people cried foul over illegal mining, commonly called galamsey in local circles, but failed to emphasize that the small-scale mining sector contributed significantly to the pollution of water bodies and the destruction of large tracts of land. Finally, looking at the cost-benefit analysis, he emphasizes that while there is the economic motivation to mine, it is also important to ponder the opportunity cost of surface mining. He says, especially when illegal mining is not only destroying the country's vegetation, but also contributing to the climate crisis, policies on mining must not be centered on the economic motive only. Gentlemen, what are your thoughts on these? I'll start with you, Wisdom.
We started with Wisdom the first time.
Wisdom, I'll start with you.
Look, this expired rice scandal is very unfortunate and quite a serious allegation. These are some of the reasons why we keep saying that the free SHS policy, which is the umbrella program over the school feeding program, it is a great policy, but we definitely need to review and make it much more impactful for the students, for the parents, and for the nation. Right. Again, I don't think any government will end this free SHS policy at all, but it has to be reviewed and approved. If it was, if I was given the opportunity to manage this, right, I would take another look at the school feeding program and find a way to instead help the parents improve or provide adequate feeding to their kids, or better still, decentralize the feeding program as the former president has been talking about. And when folks are talking about how we can improve this, I think it is unconscionable for others to be driving panic among parents that those who want to improve this actually want to end the program. It is abhorrent and a blatant lie to instill fear into the electorate for crude political gains. Now, to this supposedly
so please try to make your points very brief, Wisdom.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I don't see anything wrong in the effort by Honorable Ablakwa and his team calling on the officials to thoroughly investigate this matter. Yes, I heard the FDA provided a letter that the rice was wholesome. But considering the enormity of such allegation, wouldn't it be just proper then for the Ministry of Education to conduct their own thorough investigation as well, instead of outrightly dismissing the allegation altogether?
Well, I think there is something like that going on, though it has not been concluded on. But Kwesi Kwarteng from day one has said that he doubts this is true. Though in the past, this is not the first of such incidents, and rebagged, name changed, and all of that. You ask yourself, what was the motive? But let's await the investigations, and then, apart from what the FDA has said, if there's further clarity on that matter, we can take it from there. Would you like to move on to any other story, or should I go to Kojopo?
Look, let me add this quickly. That I think the government should know that these allegations, whether true or false, it can lead to significant loss of trust in the entire program, right? The free SHS policy, the school feeding program, and the authorities need to take note of that instead of folks dismissing this as people trying to be politically relevant.
All right, thank you. Kojopo.
Well, there's nothing cruel about your own utterances saying that you're going to cancel free senior high school. Nobody put those words in the mouth of NDC executives. They went out there on the platforms, they went out there on social media, they went out there on radio and TV and told the whole Ghanaian public that they will cancel free senior high school. So nobody is making that on them. And this is something that is on record, that the NDC have said several times and time again that they will cancel free senior high school. So this election, as we've gone around everywhere, everybody wants to protect the most innovative social intervention in this country. And the people will vote against the NDC because nobody wants free senior high school cancelled. Now, this issue of people setting their own questions, setting an agenda, and then now it becomes a topic of conversation. Look, nobody's going to pander to that. The Ministry of Education has come out to say that it will investigate. The fact that Ablakwa said it doesn't make it true. And there's a lot of evidence abound to show that it's not true. So for us to even go towards that lane of discussing and making it insinuating that it's something that could have happened because something was rebacked and because there's motive, let's wait for the investigations to be done. Then we can have a discussion. But look, there's so many things that Honorable Ablakwa has come to say on TV. That's not true. So please, we'll take this with a pinch of salt. Thank you.
You say there are so many things without belaboring the point. There are so many things. Let's assume that is true. That means there are some things he said that are right. And I think on that, we'll just leave it there. But I also had to quickly add the point that I don't know, maybe you may have to produce the stories, but as far as I've known, the rhetoric of the leader of the NDC, John Dramani Mahama, and the higher echelons of the party, they have called for a review of the policy, free SHS policy, not a cancellation. So let's put the right information out there.
Right.
You've had your turn already, Wisdom, so I think we have to make tracks. Let's get into other papers.
Let me get into the Anchor newspaper now. They say revealing the truth. And of course, the story about this expired Moshosho rice for student scandal is still here. They say FDA approval letter is out as Education Ministry questions basis for criticism and drama. But Clement Apak outlines Mahama's plan to improve free senior high school. Baumia cut sword for ultra-modern Minerals Commission office at Takwa today. MII, I think that is the Minerals Income Investment Fund, signs MOU with Mintech for strategic partnership. Let me see what stories are here. So the expired Moshosho rice on the front page. Ibn Chambers urges African nations to push for single currency. I'm interested in this. Dr. Mohamed Ibn Chambers, the African Union High Representative for Silencing the Guns and the chairman of the AU High-Level Panel on Sudan, has urged African countries to scale up efforts towards a common currency. Quote, a unified African currency would reduce transaction costs across borders, making intra-African trade more accessible and profitable. And that is Dr. Ibn Chambers stated in his address at the 13th ZICS annual lecture series at Nandi Azikiwe University in Accra in Nigeria. I don't know what you think about that. Let me just run through this and I'll come back to you in a bit. APAC outlines Mahama's plans to improve free senior high school. Alan slams Kufuor's endorsement of Baumia, says he's venturing into dangerous territory. I don't know why he says that. The founder and flag bearer of the Movement for Change, Alan Kyerematen, has criticized former President John Ajekun Kufuor over his recent endorsement of Dr. Mahmoud Baumia, the New Patriotic Party's flag bearer for the 2024 general elections. In an interview with select journalists on Sunday, well, we know the story. I'm trying to see what Alan really said. Quote, considering the present global context, I genuinely believe that Ghana's economy would witness substantial growth but that is what Kufuor said. What did Alan say? Kufuor is my uncle, quote, and I hesitate to publicly criticize him, Alan Kyerematen says. However, his endorsement has cast a significant shadow over his political career. Have you noticed how his comments have sparked negative reactions and criticism from the public? Kyerematen went on to express his concerns over Kufuor's involvement in active politics at this stage, warning that it could erode the respect he commands in the country. I'll come to you, gentlemen, for your reflections on this because I think it's interesting. And tribalism, partisanship, and lawlessness are the biggest obstacle to our development, says Toby Apede. And be cautious and thoughtful in criticizing judiciary, other institutions. Again, that is the former President John Ajekun Kufuor. On the back page, we don't have any stories here. but there was something I saw about the Black Stars. Anyway, let's move on. I won't let my daughter abort a teenage pregnancy. Ooh, says Nanama McBrown, Ghanaian actress and socialite. But quick reflections on these two stories. Kojo Poku.
Well, I want to take a quick minute to say something. Whenever we've had election cycles and the NDC has said that they will review something, they end up cancelling it. The key important one is the 4-year senior high school that existed before 2008. They said they will review it, they cancel it to 3 years. They came up and said they will review the national health insurance to one-term payment. That was a disaster. So every time somebody have used, especially that particular party called NDC, have used the review, they end up canceling it and making it worse. Now, let me move on to the issue of President Kufuor. The most successful, or let's say one of the most successful presidents that we've had in this country, right? Today, the youth who were not around to see him govern are benefiting from a lot of the policies he brought: free maternal health care, national health insurance, all the good things that President Kufuor came up. And during his interview, he basically enumerated some of the good things that he had put in place that were again cancelled by the NDC. And he's warning Ghanaians not to make the same mistake again, nor the MPP continue, because the MPP has started good initiatives. And it's only the NPP party that can continue these good initiatives. Now, going 8 years forward and 2 steps back with NDC again is going to be counterproductive for the country. And that is his message to Ghanaians, and that's why he has endorsed His Excellency Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. Anybody else that wants to basically throw shade or attack President Kufuor does that at his own peril. The man is impeccable. The man has the track record. Everybody see him as the statesman that he is. So for me, he's my uncle. He's basically one of the best people I've seen govern this country. And I don't see how anybody in today's party politics can accuse and point fingers at President Kufuor, talking about they will challenge his thinking. I think those things just doesn't go well for anybody seeking the higher office that he has occupied in the past.
Thank you. What do you think about Africans being urged to adopt a single currency, according to Ibn Chambers? Quickly, and then I'll move on to wisdom.
Well, we've been trying to do ECHO, which is the West African currency, for a very long time, and we've not been able to do it. So even if the bloc of West African countries have not been able to achieve a single currency within our small ECOWAS bloc, how do you now extend it to the whole Africa? The whole idea in the past, you know, there are various blocks in this country. There are ECOWAS for the West Africans, the South Africans have their block, the East Africans have their block. So the whole idea was that if we're able to achieve single currency within the 4 blocks, then there can be a convergence at a point among the 4 blocks. But as it stands now, it will be difficult to go into Africa when we've not been able to do it for West Africa.
Okay, thank you. I think it's important that we look at it critically because of what we are doing with African continental free trade area and all that. The discrepancies in the tariffs in various regions, infrastructural challenges, we don't even have proper road network and all that. So if we have a single currency, I think that it would be something that would do us good. But wisdom, let's hear you.
So I think former President Kufuor is a private citizen and he has rights as to who he wants to endorse. We should respect that. But I don't know how much that would transform into actual votes for the vice president, though. I think Dr. Bawumia's challenge at breaking the 8 is not about notable endorsements, but about his messaging. I don't see, I don't know if Dr. Bawumia's messaging is resonating with the youth or Ghanaians as a whole. And when I talk to folks from both sides of the aisle, it seems that the optimism or momentum is with the NDC. That's just the fact, right? And the reason why I suspect Dr. Bawumia's messaging may not be resonating with the voters is that the people are suffering economically, and they need a new leader who can actually help them. And the people don't think Dr. Bawumia, who was the head of the Economic Management Committee, they don't think he's the right person. Number 2, if you're on the NDC side and you look at the Fitch polls and the other credible polls, you could be optimistic. That's why what Dr. Bawumia may be saying or promising on the road. I think that if you live in Ghana or if you follow the issues that are going on in Ghana, as far as the performance of the economy is concerned, regardless of what Dr. Bawumia is saying on the campaign trail today, you would only hear it as a story. fully or totally devoid of any reality for the most part. But I think we shouldn't make the mistake of assuming that, because Dr. Bawumia is part of this current administration, he would automatically govern the same way as His Excellency President Akufo-Addo governed or misgoverned. The vice president is his own man, but he made certain choices. He was, like I said, he was the head of the Economic Management Committee. When they took power, the dollar was trading, or the exchange rate was $1 to 2 cedis or 3 cedis. Today, it's $1.17 cedis. How can you tell me that that is a performance that Ghanaians would like to hire somebody for? I don't think so.
So you don't think that the former president could influence anyone to vote for Bawumia? You don't think his endorsement does anything?
There is a saying, sweetie. No, I don't think so at all. There's a saying in Ghana.
Very brief. We have to move on.
It says, "Shawasitinemu netu abapa." It doesn't matter what the former president says. I have a lot of respect for former President Kufuor, but people are suffering. It's not his words. It's not about his words. It's about how people can easily afford basic necessities in life. That is the reason why I believe strongly that Ghanaians will not choose Dr. Bawumia.
Thank you so much, Wisdom. Ben.
I'll take a story I failed to look at in the Daily Graphic. GSA uncovers unapproved material in mattress production. So it's the difference between using polystyrene instead of polyurethane. And you can check out details on page 13 of the newspaper. When you're buying a mattress, insist on certain standards. This could have health implications, and there's been a crackdown on perpetrators. I would just like to go to the Daily Guide quickly. Sweetie, that story you were doing, and I heard something about only the MPP can continue some policies it has initiated. That goes against the very tenets of development, because it's supposed to be a continuum where no matter which party is in power, there can be continuity. But on the bit about Kufuor is a president I deeply respect. I have always made mention of it, and it will not change. And I feel Dela Adam's comments were very distasteful, very unfortunate. I like the way his party quickly cracked the whip, apologized, and he did same. But those words shouldn't have emanated from his mouth in the first place. And I've insisted, you don't insult anybody, no matter whom, using age or illness. Yeah. You never go that way. So I feel that was in very poor taste. But what did Alan say? I see you didn't read the full complement of what he said. Kufuor is my uncle. I don't want to say something publicly against him, but what he has done has created a big blot on his political career. Do you realize how people have started making derogatory comments about him, but that can't be substantiated? He says he's very respected in Ghana, so why would he now be engaging in politics of this nature? He's my uncle, and his actions are bad. He's treading on dangerous ground, and he has to stop. He knows what he's doing. That's, to clarify, what Alan Chemating said, the full complement, at least in respect of former President Kufuor. Some of the stories here we've done already, so I'll not go back to them. Economy Times says, Bank of Ghana likely to hold policy rate. Job availability rises by 9.5% for first 7 months. The number of jobs advertised in the media, which partially gauges labor demand in the economy, increased in August 2024 relative to what was observed in the corresponding period a year ago. According to data from the Bank of Ghana, the total number of advertised jobs for the first 7 months of the year went up by 9.5% to 24,428, compared to 22,303 recorded during the same period in 2023. And then FDI dropped significantly both in volumes and value for first half 2024. So foreign direct investments legally registered in the country for the first half of 2024 has dropped significantly both in volumes and value, according to data from the Ghana Investment Promotion Center. From January to June this year, the center recorded 69 projects with total estimated investment cost of $186.16 million, compared to 72 projects with total estimated value of $274.74 million, representing a decline of 4.1% and 32.24% respectively. So I guess it's a give and take. And the New Republic, finally, anger in Burma camp. 9 soldiers framed up, victimized and court-martialed under the pretext of refusing COVID-19 vaccination. We don't have enough time. If you care to, you can grab details on these stories. Kojo, I'll start with you. Gentlemen, we have Maybe 40 seconds each, and then we have to go. Kojo.
Well, this election, like no other, is not about what people think it is. It is that is what this election is about. Think about the future of your kids and yourself. Where we are, the reason for election is not because to look back and say that, oh, somebody did me wrong, so I'm going to basically, that person who you might think did you wrong is not on this ballot. The two new people on this ballot, former President Mahama and His Excellency Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, are people who are vying for votes. They are out there with their solutions to issues. Who best protects your future? And everybody in Ghana has said that today is Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, whose policy protects the future of our children and protects the future of this country.
Thank you. Wisdom.
I'm surprised you're saying that because, look...
Wisdom, you have 40 seconds, so you have to go straight to the point.
Quickly. If we don't have food to eat today, or if we can afford basic necessities today, how can we think about the future? We need to live to be able to get to the future. So I strongly believe it is Shawa Sitinamu Netuabapa. And in my last 10 seconds, Ben, I would strongly also expect the Bank of Ghana to cut policy rate. There are two factors that influence that. Inflation is trending downwards, and unemployment, unfortunately, there are jobs that have been created, but it's not going down fast enough. Those two factors exist, and those are actually the bedrock for the decision that goes into policy rate cut. And that, I believe, will stimulate the economic to create jobs.
Right. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for joining the conversation. Kojo Poku is an energy analyst. Wisdom Dogbe is a financial analyst. We're grateful that you took the time to join us this morning. Sweetie?
Whether it's show at Sitnim Netwabapa or Joda Show Netwabapa, this is the end of the news review segment. It's interesting, is it not?
Ghanaians will decide on December the 7th.
Yes. Please stay for sports coming up next with Muftan Nabil Abdullahi.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to AM Sports. I am Muftau Nabila Abdullahi. Ghana's Black Stars ended their qualification campaign for the next edition of the African Cup of Nations with a defeat. A competition that began with a defeat against Angola at the Bawayara Sports Stadium on September 5 ended against Niger at the Accra Sports Stadium on November 18 with another late winner for Ghana's opponents. And we're going for the highlights of that, and after that, we'll bring you analysis of how the Black Stars has conceded quite late in this qualification campaign.
Lovely, lovely ball to release Isaac Afoul. The wing-back, great ball in, but nobody there. Goalkeeper Tanja slipping at the worst possible moment. From this corner kick, ball fell nicely, shot drilled in, led to another corner kick. Terrific delivery, and there Husseini Badamasi rising well to head the ball past Nuruddin into the top left-hand corner. Absolute bullet header. The travelling Niger fans delighted. Terrific delivery. Can't stress that enough by Rahim Al-Hassan. The highlights of this AFCON qualifier between Ghana and visitors Niger. Ghana playing for pride, Niger going for the victory to keep alive their chances. In the second half, brilliant effort to equalize by substitute Jeremiah Afriye. He'd only just come onto the pitch as a sub. Niger, wonderful combination, releasing Al-Mustafa, forcing a great save at the near post by Abdul Nuruddin. Lovely give and go. Ali Mohammed with a perfectly weighted return ball. Good goalkeeping. Terrific free kick by Kudos. Very nearly put Ghana's noses in front for the first time in the game. Superb free kick. Denied just by the woodwork. And then 2 minutes into stoppage time, wonderful delivery by Halassan, converted by Umar Sako. Bullet header. Sako, only his second goal for Niger ever. Well worth umpteen looks. And then high drama. Kudos bundled over in the penalty area. Really clumsy challenge by Badamasi. Referee left in no doubt. Points to the penalty spot. Upstep Kudos. Brilliant one-handed save by Mamadou Tanja. That was the final action of the game. You'd have put your bet and dollar on Kudos to convert. He was closer with his free kick. Final score 2-1 to Niger.
So that was the outcome of the game. In the first time in the history of Ghana's football, the senior national team participated in an AFCON qualification campaign without winning a single match. And guess what? It is against Sudan, a war-torn country, a country that has not had an opportunity of playing a single match before their very own spectators. Niger, with its own challenges, also was not able to host a single match at home before its very own spectators. Guess what? All these countries were able to hold the Black Stars and denied them opportunity of victory to secure qualification to the AFCON. Angola, they hosted Ghana, and that game ended 1-1. But there was one interesting thing that not even a prophet could have predicted, and that is Ghana's opening game against Angola, the Black Stars conceded after 90 minutes in that game. Also, their next game, which came up against Niger, the Black Stars conceded with 4 minutes to end the game. And guess what? When they came up against Niger at the Accra Sports Stadium, they conceded late again after 90 minutes of football. The ultimate question many people are asking is, where was this script written that Ghana concedes goals quite late? And in fact, you would have to go back to the African Cup of Nations early on this year when the Black Stars were up against Mozambique in the final group game. After 89 minutes, Ghana was leading. But guess what? Monumentally, the Black Stars, the senior national team, a country that has brought pride to continental football and global football at large, conceded quite late and exited the competition. And many people are wondering if this is the time that changes are expected. We'll be hearing from many people who have actually attributed the failure of this team to the management of football in this country. In the last 5 years, the Ghana Black Stars has participated in 3 major competitions. First, it was a tournament that took place in Cameroon. It was the first time since 1984 Ghana got eliminated at the group stage of a major competition. The next one was the African Cup of Nations, which also took place in Côte d'Ivoire. Ghana again got eliminated at a group stage of the competition. And now, Ghana has failed to qualify to the African Cup of Nations. I saw some interesting comparison online, which said that when Kwesi Nyantakyi assumed the presidency of Ghana football, 2006, he exited at a group stage in Egypt. 2008, he finished 3rd. 2010, he went to the final. Under the leadership of Keto Kreku, he has exited at the group stage twice and has failed to qualify to the 3rd tournament. So what is actually the problem of Ghana football? Is it the leadership? Is it technical? 5 different coaches, same resource. We'll be bringing you detailed analysis on our digital spaces as Joy Sports goes behind the scenes to have a proper appreciation of all the challenges that have engulfed Ghana football since Kurt Okreku and his administration took over the governance of football in this country. Yesterday in his Facebook post, he said the normalization committee that handed over to him, in fact, it was in essence blaming Ghana's football challenges partly on the normalization committee. Quite an interesting one. But let's go to the stadium and hear from head coach of the team, Otto Addo. He has apologized for this monumental failure that Ghana has suffered in this qualification campaign.
Really, I would like to apologize for the results. Very much, very much. If I have a wish, one wish, I know for a lot of people, even the World Cup is bigger than the AFCON. For me, personally, the AFCON is bigger. For me, personally, it's just a personal thing. I know for a lot of people, it's more important to go to the World Cup, and I did it once. And I'm just saying, after I did it for the World Cup, before even I came, a lot of people were against me. I can show you 100 things, my friends, but nobody apologized afterwards. Not some few, not a lot. This is the first one. But I'm ready to apologize very, very much. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry that we didn't do well and we didn't qualify. I'm very sorry. This one, 100%. I really have to apologize because I know how much it means for every Ghanaian to play in this tournament. I know it. Don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong, please.
Let's also hear from him. My colleague Victor Achutemaklu asked him whether he would take responsibility for this disaster and also resign from his role. He questioned Achu whether he will resign if someone tells him he's a bad journalist.
You have to ask the GSA this question. Why? I mean, like, it's the same, like, that's why the background was important. But it's the same, like, let's say, if we turn things around, For me, because the questions were good. Okay, don't tell the person. No, I'm just saying, you're a good journalist in my eyes. Just don't take it personally. If I would say you're bad, then I will ask you would do it. You would do it. It's like, I mean, that's why I said you are good. I didn't want to take it personally. No. So I'm saying you're good because for me the questions you ask are good. But then if you think like you said, then you're a good journalist, and I ask you resign, would you resign? You say no. No, because you ask me like why, and these questions are not in my responsibility if I should continue or not. Like for me, I'm not, like I said before, and if the next question will ask, we can use the same answer. I'm not a person. I'm never giving up on nothing. This is the way I came up. If you want to be, let's say, a footballer, a professional, you will never give up. You fight. You work hard. You work even if you fall down 10 times. You stand up the 11th time, and then you do it. This is how I made it. It's not like I came up and then I made it as a professional. And the same as a coach. As a coach, it's not like, somebody will just give you anything for granted, a badge. You have to work hard. You have to have teams. You have to work with them. You have to surely get results, which were not there, 100%. This is my responsibility, no one else. And surely you will fall down as a coach. I can give you a lot of examples. And I think you were talking about somebody who talking referred to Klaus. I was playing under him. We went down with mines from first to second, and then we came up again. It's not like everything goes like this. No, his first years in Dortmund, 2 years, big problem. We were almost.
Well, Otto Addo says he's going nowhere. The Ghana Football Association, they will be having an executive council meeting tomorrow, and hopefully we'll be able to get details after that meeting. One of the things we are made to understand is that the future of Otto Addo will be discussed at this meeting. At this point, it's quite unclear if the Ghana Football Association will part company with him. But this is a statement that came from the president of the Ghana Football Association. He wrote it on his Facebook page immediately after Ghana's defeat against Niger. And he said that my heart bleeds. According to him, there were some high points in Ghana football. That was when Ghana qualified to participate in the FIFA World Cup in Qatar just 2 years ago. But at this point, we are at the lowest ebb of Ghana's football, where the senior national team has not been able to qualify to participate in the African Cup in the Africa competition. So this is what he says. From the highest highs of world football on the 29th of March 2022 to the lowest ebb of AFCON qualifying matches, my heart bleeds. Definitely, this is not what we want or what we bargained for. At this point, only cool heads can win. And we as leaders of our sport will stay together, be honest with ourselves, and fix this problem. The road to full recovery after normalization is definitely bumpy and rough, but our collective efforts and patience will win, and Ghana, our beloved country, will win. As a Black Stars fan and as a leader, I share in your pain and in our pain. We will rise from this temporary setback. It shall be well. That is a statement from the Ghana Football Association president. But let's hear from his management committee member, who is Akwesi Ajima. He doubles as the chief executive officer of the Ghana Tourism Authority. He says this is not the right time to part company with Otuado.
Over the last few years, we've had how many coaches? We had Kwesi Appiah come and go, Milo, CK, and then Otto phase 1 and Otto phase 2. And I believe speaking to the FA president and executive committee, their plan was that we should have a long-term plan, a long-term build-up. So they felt that they needed a coach who could do the long haul. At that time, I think Otto had taken us to the World Cup. He came, he said he had a contract with Dortmund, went back. So he's been brought back to try and build long-term. So if you look at the long-term vision, I think we need that consistency. But football is also about results. And so, but where we are now, where we have, in a few months, I think 3 months, we have 2 crucial games against Chad, home and away, I believe, to try and qualify for the World Cup. I don't believe this is the time for that change. But it's also a call for Otto and the technical team to really take a mirror and look in what are the things that are not going right, because I don't get.
Also, let's hear from former Ghana midfielder Emmanuel Ajimambedu. He says that players and coaches are not responsible for the current woes of Ghana football.
I don't think the entire problem lies on the coaches or the players. Well, national team, playing for national team and club side is different. So you might say, okay, they are doing well in their class, but why are they struggling in Ghana here? Yes, there's a coaching problem as well. But if after 5 years, you have changed 5 coaches, and you tell me the entire problem you are having with the national team is about the coaches or the players, then I will have a problem. We need to find it. Because in our time, and I will say this, you were having a management committee members for the Black Stars who had been there doing your man's job, doing everything for the team to get shots. Today I'm talking where the Black Stars, if they have, what are they doing? It looks like they have leave the coach alone to fight their problems, because they need to play their role as a management committee, because they supervise everything apart from the playing body. So if now I'm talking now, some years back, you will see Fred Papo, Fred Kester, Randy Abbey, Georgia Free, and all of them supporting President Yankee. Like now, I can't find it anywhere. We were having a crucial game in Libya, and everybody was cutting. There's none there supervising the team. So we have a serious problem, and it's not only the coaching and the players. We need to, if we want to do well, we need to sanitize them more. By sanitizing, everybody needs to take some of the blame. The FA, they cannot take themselves from it. And see, the problem we're having is when we politely advise or criticize, then there's a lot of people, they take it as hate or you don't like them. But this is not the problem.
You're still watching the AM show on Joy News, and let's get into our big stories. But before that, here are some important pieces of information you should take note of. This year's CompuGhana Cashback has been named as Prime Cashback Season, and it's packed with incredible deals and exciting surprises. This Prime Cashback, CompuGhana is bringing you exclusive discounts, prime savings, and awesome surprises when you shop products from any of their branches nationwide. You can find products from your favorite brands like Samsung, LG, TCL, HP, Lenovo, Dell, Media, Nasco, Tecno, Infinix, Itel, Huawei, and many more. Visit any of CompuGhana branches nationwide and enjoy exclusive discounts on our products. CompuGhana has a wide range of IT-related products, including mobile phones and electronic products, such as laptops, printers, desktops, mobile phones, did I mention that already? Tablets, television, fridges, home theaters, air conditioners, gas cookers, and more. What's more amazing this year is this year's Prime Cashback with CompuGhana has got great prices with instant gifts and cash prizes for your shopping experience. So when you shop at CompuGhana this season, be on the lookout for the surprise team. Answer a question correctly and win instant cash and gifts. You deserve this opportunity too, so rush to CompuGhana now. The promo runs from now till December, so visit CompuGhana.com or simply call 0302-752-020 for more information.
Well, let me also, well, maybe later we'll do that, but let's get into our next conversation. And we're telling you about cholera, that outbreak in the central region. 7 have passed, have met their maker. 47 have been confirmed cases in there, and 720 suspected cases across 8 districts. Now, the Central Regional Health Directorate has stepped up public education on preventive measures against this outbreak. We'll hear from the Ghana Health Service on the measures to contain the disturbing situation. But joining us on phone, we have Asiedu Bekwe, Franklin Asiedu Bekwe. He is a public health director with the Ghana Health Service. Dr. Asiedu Bekwe, a very good morning to you, sir.
Good morning.
It's a pleasure having you join the conversation. What can you tell us about the status so far, the most updated or current information on this development?
Yes, so I mean, we've had this outbreak for the past 6 weeks. I mean, we started from Ada, East and West. And I mean, I would say that it extended to some parts of Eastern country. And then Central. But Central, I think the main district is the Okusina. I mean, this is a district that borders Ita. Liverpool, moving and out. I'll say it. So,
Doc, please, just if you could move a little and then speak up for me. Our connection is pretty bad. I'd be grateful, sir.
Yeah, so what I'm saying is that we had a challenge at the early stages because the doctors, people were not sure by the cost of managing cholera. So, typically, if you have an outbreak and it's confirmed as an outbreak, it's free. But at that time, they were not sure that it was free. People will try and self-medicate, and they were having bad cases from everything. So that was one of the reasons why we had an early death from this past September. Now, there's been a lot of things like, and a lot of staff from other Ghana. So what has happened now for the past 1 week, there's a lot of awareness, there's a lot of effect.
Dr. Bekwe, we are struggling to hear you, and I think we try to reconnect with you again, and hopefully when we get you back, you can confirm something I'm just reading in the newspaper about some 9 confirmed cases right here in the Greater Accra region. Maybe we can get him back on the line.
But it's been a while now, sweetie, since I heard about this cholera outbreak.
Yeah.
And, it's particularly ravaging. It can take many lives, and we see that already. Just like the Daily Graphic is reporting today, 7 have been confirmed dead, 47 confirmed cases. We are talking of the central region as a hotbed, but there are other regions also, suffering this. And these are bad times to have such a crisis on our hands. So hopefully remedial measures are put in place quickly.
I know Zoom Lion is fumigating some areas in the Gas South municipality. I see there's a picture here actually. They've gone to Kokrobite, Botiano, Oshiye, and Meshian 2 weeks ago. And that is where they actually got that case of 9 cases with 3 deaths right here in the Greater Accra region. So the fumigation is part of efforts to prevent the spread of the disease or from going to other parts of the Greater Accra region. But we have Dr. Bekwai on the line with us now, I think. So, Doc, we lost a bit of what you were saying. Could you hopefully start afresh and give us what the real situation is on the ground?
Yeah, so what I was saying was that we've had the outbreak for about 6 weeks now. It started from Adan East and Adan West. And after that, we had other cases, particularly in Central Region. That's Taswa, East. And it has to do with the fact that people move in and out of Accra. So the early stages of the outbreak, we realized that people were not sure that management of cholera was free. So people tend to self-medicate. And that was the reason why we lost some cases at the early stages. But now what is very clear is that management of cholera is free. So it's encouraging people to come. So though we have, I would say, a number of confirmed cases, the severity of the disease is down now to us, which is a good plus, because some people should know about it, report, and then hopefully there will be a behavior change that will stop the outbreak. So we have, I would say, for now, Ghana, we have 3 main regions. So that is Greater Accra, Central, and then Western. And I think Eastern has just 2 confirmed cases. So Eastern is not an issue now. But for us, if you have managed an outbreak like cholera, the early stages, you have severity of cases, and then as the awareness go high, you have very mild cases, and hopefully you bring the transmission. So that's the normal trend of managing an outbreak like cholera.
So you're saying basically that it's the lack of education that treatment for cholera is free. That's why we lost these lives. But how much education is actually going into ensuring that, the target audience are receiving the message so they don't self-medicate, like you said?
Oh, so I would say that for now, there's a lot of awareness going on in the regions, particularly the communities that have the outbreak. So we are using the community information centers. They are having their best. We are working together with NCC and assemblies. So they are using the advance, going around educating people. Because I think the issue clearly, as I said, was people were trying to self-medicate at the early stages. But now, people are coming in. And then we have also had a lot of engagement with the chemical sellers and pharmacy shops. That when somebody comes with diarrhea, don't try and keep any medication. Just refer the person to the health facility. We also engage the private facilities that we can start management by referring to the treatment center. We have set up treatment centers in the public facilities to make sure that we are able to manage the case. So to me, I think that though the case load hasn't reduced much, is the severity which has reduced, which you have is good. And hopefully, with time, we'll get the numbers coming down.
Okay. But can you confirm that we've recorded 3 deaths here in Accra?
Yes. In total, we've gotten, I think, 2 were in Adan East and West, and I think 1 in Ablekuma West. And then for Central, I think we've gotten about 7 from Kenya largely, and then we have 2 in West. So those were the, as I said, those were the early stages. What is good is that you see people, and I think let me make it clear that because you have established an outbreak, the people can easily move within an hour or 2 to another place.
Right.
There's a threat. So people should be on their guard. Be careful about what you eat. Be careful about what you drink.
and then make sure that you maintain hand hygiene. Because you cannot restrict cholera. That's why we are not restricting mentioned places.
Right.
But cholera cannot stay in one place. It moves as people move. So let's not restrict ourselves that where are the cases. We have established cholera in Ghana. And for now, the prime regions are, let's say, Greater Accra, part of Greater Accra, and part of Central. But the people should look at their behavior. What are you eating? What are you drinking? What is your hand hygiene like? Are you washing your hands with soap and water? I mean, that should be the message. And if the message is very clear, we will be able to break the transmission.
Okay. You've mentioned awareness creation and, just educating the public that treatment is free and they should keep good personal hygiene. What other punitive measures are you, have you put in place to ensure that we're keeping our surroundings clean? Have you reactivated these town council or town, what we call tankers, Benjamin?
Town councils or tankers.
Yeah, have you reactivated them? What have you done? What are you doing to ensure that we're actually mitigating the spread of this disease?
Okay, so I'll say that managing an outbreak of cholera goes beyond health. It's a bigger issue. So it's about water, it's about sanitation. So most of the assemblies, they've kind of they are enforcing their bylaws on open defecation. They're also enforcing their bylaws on good environmental hygiene. So all of the regions, all of the districts, is the district chief executive who is heading the response, and it mobilizes the environmental, it mobilizes the water, it mobilizes the health to be part of the response. We at the health side, we are concerned about management of the cases. When it comes to the education, we do it together with NCC. So it is not just a purely health condition for now. It's a multifaceted sectorial condition that we are handling. And we are grateful for the media trying to help to sensitize the general population. But I think I need to stress that for now, let's be careful for what we are eating. Eat what is. And then if we want to eat something which is not what, like fruit, vegetables, make sure that you wash it well. And then your hand hygiene, very, very important. Make sure they are not dead people. If you want to, they immediately wash your hands, you soap and water, or use that.
Right. Please hold for Ben. Ben looks like a decentralized approach where we have the GES themselves managing the epidemic, while the regional or district level they are managing the preventive measures and ensuring that we are keeping our cities clean. But
sometimes it's also the trickle-down effect. Doc, I also know that in the central region specifically, there have been some officers talking about open defecation and its impact on this entire situation. What can you report on that? What is the status and what is being done about it in terms of sensitization?
Yes, as I said, so the assembly are enforcing their bylaws and making sure that, I know for like Adan is like that, and Adan West, they are providing them with some of these temporary toilet facilities. Because if you are pushing for stoppage of open defecation, they need to ensure you provide the avenues for it. So, you see, managing cholera outbreak has several dimensions. You have the immediate effect, the medium, and then long term. But making sure that we have the good sanitary conditions, making sure they have potable water available. But for now, it's making sure that all these things are being provided as early as possible. But people also alter their behavior, and they make sure that we make sure we eat what is what. I think I've kept on stressing is make sure they eat what is what for now, and be sure that if you are really drinking water, make sure that you have an idea of what the water is. Let me say, 10 years ago, we had a very big outbreak in Accra. And then the outbreak was not the sachet water, it was the handling of it. And I think that for now, we haven't established that evidence. But I always keep on stressing it. That if you are drinking sachet water, wash it that's around it before you bite it. Because it could be the source of infection, not the water itself, but the handling of it. So please, I want to stress that cholera is not a respecter of person. Now the cases are are not mild. The cases are not severe, but we are still not blocking the transmission, and we want to make sure that people have the right kind of behavior change that will minimize the effect of the outbreak.
We also know that when you speak of cholera, you have to look at issues like poverty, because it devolves into poor access to water, like you've mentioned, among others. You have to look at unplanned urbanization. been expanding into various places without the right even toilet, water facilities and all of that. We've made mention of some of these. But then there are also oral cholera vaccines. My question is, do we have access to some of these? Are we using them in those areas affected?
Okay, thank you very much. So the vaccines complement I would say the physical intervention. So when you have an outbreak, countries apply to an international body based on the evidence that you have. You'll be given some vaccines. So we have actually applied. We go to get some vaccines. But for us,
just clarify. I missed that. So are you saying you've applied for the vaccines?
Yes. We actually have to approve for some parts because you do it in phases. Yes, and so based on the evidence, so initial evidence was in Adani and that way. So we're going to get that. And now we have applied for, because you cannot just apply that a country. You provide the evidence for them, because it's a global product that everybody wants. So they need to look at your situation and say that you merit it. So for now, we have the approval for Adani and that way. We have also applied for which is yet to be approved. But one thing I want to say that we have
before you go on, how many are we looking at? How many are we likely to get?
You see, I don't like talking about those figures because it derails us from what we are fighting. Our fight is people should look at their hand hygiene. People should make sure they are eating what food. People should make sure they are drinking. If you bring the vaccine in, people will go back to sleep. So that's why we don't want to stress on that. And we want to make sure that the vaccine comes to complement whatever efforts are being put in place.
But you see, it is also important, while I get you, it is also important to know the complement so that we are aware of what we are looking at.
What I want to tell you that, which is a fact, is that Ghana has applied to ICD and we have gotten an approval for some quantity of vaccines for Adani and Adawe. That is a fact. Yes, I don't know the quantities because an issue, then it reveals our communication. The people say there's a vaccine, and the people's behavior that we expect to change will not change. So for us, we want to focus on the behavior change, not the vaccine. The vaccine will come and complement it.
All right. So in terms of surveillance, we know of some portions in the Greater Accra region. You've confirmed that 3 have passed in the central region, 7 with 47 of these confirmed cases. Is it localized in only these places? Are there any other places that, not necessarily confirming, but we suspect there could be cases? Other regions?
Oh, so when you have an outbreak, you establish what they call the case definition. So if somebody comes in before they call the acute water diarrhea, it's a suspected case. So we have got pockets of Accra that have suspected cases. They are not confirmed yet. Even if we have got Ghana, there are several areas that have suspected cases. But in terms of confirmed cases, I think in Ghana we have 151 confirmed cases. They have over 300 probable is when you have used RDT. Normally, the definitive confirmation is when you do a quarter. So there are pockets, and to as you have suspected cases, it's good that the surveillance system is working. So it's possible there are no cases. It's possible there are cases. But for us, it tells us that the people are able to report. The system is able to suspect it, which is good for us. And I think that for if you look at our EPICAP, EPICAP gives an idea of the spread and the distribution of the disease. You can see that for the past 1 week, it's kind of going down, which is good for us. But to us, we are not over yet. We still want to stress that the Ghanaians or the people living in Ghana must watch what they are eating and what they are drinking. You know, there are countries that have had the outbreak for a year, and we don't want to be in that situation. That's why we are putting our maximum effort. And I want to state that response to cholera is not a health issue. It's multifaceted. About water, it's about environment, it's about planning, several things in place. So we should all come together and make sure that Ghanaian is educated and minimize the effect at this early stage, while we can plan for the medium and long-term issues.
I know that in such outbreaks, some of the most vulnerable are children. Of those affected, do you have the statistics on how many have passed who are children, how many have, fallen to the disease who are children? Do we know?
I don't have the data often, but I know the big age band is, I think, between 24 to 45. I think those are the majority affected. The children are not very much affected. Typically, the children, you know, most of them are being breastfed and things like that, so they're kind of protected. So for this outbreak, the children, particularly the very young age, are not most affected. But then if your mother has it, then you can transmit the bacteria to you. But then for this particular outbreak, it's very low on that age.
And that's an important point you make, the transmissibility of this bacterium, as you put it. What more should people know about it in terms of, you know, people who have cholera and how to, even as family, treating them to avoid picking up the bacteria?
Yeah, so see, cholera is one outbreak that stresses the health, because the time between getting the infection and death, or time between getting the infection and then exhibiting the symptoms, is very short, about hours. So you can be exposed to either your girlfriend, your wife, or your mother. Within a matter of hours, you are showing the symptoms. And then when it comes to the diarrhea, it's like a cup that you have just 10 pounds. It's painless and it's flowing like that. So if you get the cholera and you don't go to the facility in a matter of maybe minutes, you can die. So that is serious cholera, and that's why we try to prevent it. So the prevention is making sure that you don't get into contact with the secretions of an infected person. Let's say if your friend or your wife or sister has it, and then you as you try to clean it up, you say you get yourself soiled up, and one way or the other, if you are not careful, it gets into your mouth. You also got to get it. So the key thing is that it's about early referral to the health facility, but then make sure that you protect yourself. So in the house, it's about maybe using a polythene bag or something, because you don't have the necessary protective equipment, but you try to improvise so that you minimize it, and then you wash your hands as early as possible. Once you go to the health facility, you try to put a lot of chlorine to disinfect the bacteria. So those are the measures that we try to implement. So it's about avoiding the contact, but then that is difficult to avoid because it's a relative. So we try to improvise by putting on certain protective clothing, once you try to repair. Normally, when the vehicles come to the health facility, we set them aside and disinfect it before we set them to go. Because there are some instances that you realize people get the infection, the vehicle moves them, the person passes the feces or vomit in, and that becomes a source of infection. So if it's not well contaminated, then it can also cause problems for us. So we set you aside, make sure that you disinfect it for hours before you are allowed to go.
Okay. My final bit to you, so that means we should all sound the word of caution. Even if you're treating, you're in close proximity to these people, our brothers and sisters, you're treating them out of love. Be careful lest you also fall victim. Yes. Watch your hygiene processes. But my final bit, which I'm curious about.
Before your final bit, so what we try to do is that when we get a case, a team comes to your household and try and come and disinfect the place. They try and spray there with chlorine and things like that to make sure that all the sources of the infection in your household is eliminated. So we have a team. They're normally afraid. So you have the surveillance guy or the contact tracing person. You have the educator, and then you have the environmental person who comes to spray the house to disinfect. So that's the thing that comes to your house when you have a complaint case.
All right. While I know Sweetie will be coming in shortly, while I know that with such outbreaks, you can't put a real timeline on it in terms of we are eradicating it or trying to deal with the particular situation by this time. I also want to know, per the Ghana Health Service, I'm sure you have some time dimensions in terms of we are hoping that by this time we would have addressed these issues and contain the situation. What are those timelines, if you have any?
For us, we are looking at in phases. So one is to minimize severity of the disease, which to us we are on course. And then before you talk about the degree of infection, the degree of infection can take a bit of some time. But then if they are coming in early and then they are mild, and then people are very much aware. And you see, what is good about cholera is that it has a very short incubation period. So let's say if you're able to get the last confirmed case plus 2 incubation period, so it's 5 days plus 2 incubation period 10. So you can say that if you have got the last case, that's 10 days, you are off. But it's not that simple. So for now, we don't have a clear timeline. What we are looking for is that we want to make sure that we don't have death. We want to make sure that we don't have severe cases coming to our health facilities. And then we can now look at breaking the transmission.
All right. Sweetie?
Ben, that was an exhaustive line of question. I just want more clarity on the bit about children. I mean, we now know that you said not many children are infected, but what, in terms of your sensitization?
In fact, I think he mentioned from 22 upwards, so maybe no children.
No children
so
at
far.
all.
Right.
But what
not at all. I said most of them are.
Most of them, right. But in terms of the messaging, I mean, you are trying to manage an epidemic. Have you diluted the message or made it accessible to children? Granted that they are under the care of their parents, but when they go to school, they have the liberty to pick and choose what they put in their mouths and all that. Have you, targeted your message to children as well, in any way?
Yeah, so we are working together with the Ghana Education Service. They have clear guidelines that are in the schools. And then they also have made sure that almost every school has hand washing facility. Okay. So, the children can be also good sources of the of information. So they are also being targeted. And then we have kind of transmitted the messages into other languages that is helping to make sure we get it average Ghanaian.
Because I was going to ask you, how about those who don't speak English? Okay, go ahead.
No, I think it has been translated into other countries, other languages. So it's not only English or Twi. The other, Dagbani, Ghana, it's all being done across.
All right. Thank you so much, Dr. Asiedu Bekoe. He's Public Health Director for the Ghana Health Service. Thank you for helping us shine light on this cholera outbreak and what you're doing to stem the tide.
It's a general problem, and hopefully we get it under control. We nip it in the bud soon, because cholera can be fatal and it can have devastating effects on our health. So I'm glad something is being done. I'm very happy, it occurred to me to ask about the oral, cholera vaccines and the fact that at least there are some expectations. I think he mentioned Ghana West and Ghana East, or one of those in there. So let's see how that goes. Well, mind your health, stay healthy. The times are what they are. You don't want to fall sick, so take care of your health as well. And speaking of health, Medicas Hospital, a modern healthcare facility, has been built with your recovery in mind. They have spacious wards built with your family in mind, a warm and caring pediatric unit, of course, for children, built with your children in mind, and they have assembled some of the brightest minds in medicine, led by Dr. Yawasa, for the drive time doctor, to serve you. They are also offering general medical services as well as specialist services in plastic surgery, obstetrics, gynecology, child health, urology, psychiatry, and eye care. Additionally, they are offering a comprehensive medical diagnostic service encompassing endoscopy, medical laboratory services, x-rays, and scans. And if you're thinking of where to get your medication, you're sorted out. They have a 24-hour pharmacy ensuring you'll always receive efficacious, safe, and affordable medicine. And to cap it all off, they are bringing you the most powerful medicine of all. Do you know? Simple human kindness and empathy. And that's why they take pride in holding themselves to the highest attainable standards. They also accept all forms of payment, including from private health insurance companies. So no matter what your options are, you're covered. Locate Medicas Hospital at number 10 Kinso Street near Shalibotre School Junction. You can reach them on 0501 477 340. That is 0501 477 340. On social media, Medicas GH, Medicas Hospital, a place of healing. Hopefully, we are a place of information for you. This is the AM Show. We'll be right back. Welcome back. We continue with our big stories. And from health, we stay on health. Yes, even as we talk about education, because health matters are involved. Propaganda, rumors, well, that is what the Chief of Staff, Remel Osei-Opare, says have no place in education. And she has taken on the Member of Parliament for North Dong, Samuel Okujeto-Ablakwa, on the expired rice expose. But we ask, what is truth? What is fact? What is fiction? We delve into the matters this morning as we have the man himself in our studio, and we're going to be hearing it, as we proverbially say, from the horse's own mouth. Sweetie Abochi is right in the wings, and Samuel Okujeto-Ablakwa is here. Good morning.
Hi, good morning, Benjamin. Good to see you, and good morning, sweetie.
So let's kickstart. I see you have a plethora of documents that you've decorated our table with. We'd like to hear from you. Give us the genesis of finding out about this to this point where it has become a topical discussion.
Well, thank you very much, and good morning to you. Good morning to the distinguished viewers of Joy TV. So let me state ab initio that this is no propaganda. This is no untruth. It does not benefit anybody to engage in propaganda with such a sensitive matter. We are talking about the lives of millions of students in senior high school. This is a public health issue. All of us have either children or cousins or nephews or nieces, relatives, constituents, people we love dearly in senior high school. And you know how in this country we all have a certain nostalgic posture and feeling about our secondary schools. So this is not a matter that in the wildest of imaginations will be pursued on the altar of untruth or propaganda. And so let me assure the Chief of Staff, and I know her very well. When I was NUC's president, she was the MP for Ayawaso West Wuogon, and she used to meet student leaders in the University of Ghana and beyond. And I'm really surprised that she's taking this approach. I thought that she would have reached out to me to ask what the evidence is. And as a mother, as a grandmother, I thought that this is not a matter that she would just dismiss with a wave of the hand and brand all of what is happening as mere propaganda. As Chief of Staff, it is her duty to coordinate government functionaries. She should have called all the agencies responsible for this scandal, whose dereliction,
there are quite a number of them,
whose negligence, yes, from buffer stock, I mean, FDA, GES, Ministry of Education, all the way to the scholarship secretariat, the free SHS secretariat. These are all key partners that she should have coordinated, called a meeting, and looked at the evidence, including talking to the police, because there were initial arrests. So let me assure the good people of this country that I'm pursuing this just because of the national interest, in good faith. There is absolutely no, I mean, what is there to benefit? I mean, there can be no interest. I mean, this is a really traumatic expose. When you look at the evidence, you see the videos, and you see the sheer callousness which a few unscrupulous characters have engaged in. So let me give the background.
Please do.
On the 20th of December, 2023, the Ashanti Regional Police received an alert from someone who we must celebrate, a patriotic Ghanaian, who uncovered that apparently at the National Buffer Stock Storage Facility in Kumasi, a suspicious activity was going on under the cover of darkness, without FDA authorization, supervision, they had commandeered from Accra over 22,000 bags of rice to that Kumasi NAFCO storage facility. And what were they doing? Seeing that the original package of the rice, which is Moshosho rice, imported from India. I have the bill of lading here, which I'll share with you.
Can I have that?
Moshosho rice, imported from India. They were transferring the rice, seeing that the best before date had approached. And they could not really distribute that rice without people protesting. The recipient saying that no, this is not rice that should be shared at this time, when clearly on the label, December 2023, the expiry date is there. So the Ashanti Regional Police Command acted on that alert. When they got in, it was confirmed. This Moshosho rice was being rebagged. And by the time the Ashanti Regional Police Command arrived, will you believe that 15,000 rebagging had taken place? Guess what?
Out of the 22,000.
Out of the 22,000. So, guess what? The new bags had ECOWAS. And then they had made in Ghana. No longer India, made in Ghana. And then, even worse, this time, there was no expiry date or best before date. It was left bare. If anybody has any doubt about this, let me read this 21st December 2023 letter from the Ashanti Regional Police Command. It's addressed to the Regional Director, Food and Drugs Authority, Kumasi, Ashanti. Sir, request for assistance. The Regional Criminal Investigation Department, RCID, of Ghana Police Service, Kumasi, Ashanti, is investigating a case of being in possession of alleged unwholesome Moshosho bags of rice stocked at the National Food and Buffer Stock Warehouse, Buokrom, Kumasi. Investigations have reached a stage where sample of the suspected Moshosho rice needs to be examined to ascertain whether or not the rice has expired or good for consumption. I will be very grateful if your outfit could assist in examining the rice and report. Counting on your usual cooperation, please. This is signed by J.J. Boy, Superintendent in charge of crime, Ashanti Region.
Okay.
I give you a copy. Yeah. So, when anybody says that, oh, this is all a figment of my imagination, I am creating things that didn't exist. J.J. Boy, Superintendent J.J. Boy, is still in Ashanti Region. As part of my investigative work, my oversight mandate imposed on me by the Constitution of Ghana, I've spoken to him.
What did he tell you?
He's confirmed that this letter is authentic. And indeed, they effected an arrest on the 20th of December and sent samples to the FDA. And I'll come to the results of the samples they requested. Now, as the Ghana Police Service Ashanti Region wing got the alert, that good Samaritan, God bless him, he is a great Ghanaian, he has a good conscience. He also alerted the Ashanti Region FDA. So the Ashanti Region FDA also moved in. So just as the police command acted on the alert, Ashanti Region FDA also acted on the alert. Now you have the documents from the Ghana Police Service, J.J. Boy, Superintendent in charge of crime, Ashanti. Now let me come to the FDA documents. And this is a report on preliminary investigations on an alleged unauthorized rebagging of rice by the National Buffer Stock. And this is a preliminary investigation report signed by Mr. John Laye Odai Tete. Please, I'm mentioning names, giving positions, quoting documents. And I hope Chief of Staff is watching. He is the Ashanti Regional Head of the Food and Drugs Authority. This is the content of his report.
So we want the thrust of it, because that's quite a...
Yes, so I'll just...
thrust of it.
Yeah. Background. The Ashanti Regional Office of the Food and Drugs Authority received an alert on 20th December 2023 about a repackaging exercise which had not been authorized by the FDA being carried out at the storage facility of the National Buffer Stock in the Ashanti region. A team of officers were dispatched to the said location to ascertain the veracity of the alert for the appropriate regulatory action to be taken in the interest of public health and safety. Upon arrival at the site, the FDA officers detected that the storage facility had been locked up. When inquired from people around the facility, the team was informed that the action was taken by officers of the Central Command of the Ghana Police Service. The FDA team then continued to the police command for further discussion. The team, together with a team of police officers, led by the regional crime officer, J.J. Boy, moved to the facility to ascertain the veracity of the alert. Findings. The findings outlined below were arrived at during the preliminary investigation at the storage facility, as well as a meeting held with the Deputy Education Minister, Honorable John Ntim Fojo. And this is key, because when I first published this scandal, the Minister of Education issued a statement pretending that this is also strange to them. It's big news. They have never heard about this. This is the FDA, as far back as January this year, confirming that they had meetings with the Deputy Education Minister, Reverend John Ntim Fojo. Reverend John Ntim Fojo, the Minister of Education, could have stopped this. This rise could have been prevented.
But let's hold there when we get to apportioning blame. Technically, the Ministry of Education does not supervise this. It remains in the purview of the Buffer Stock Food Company. But at some point, because of its oversight, it may come in. So I just want us to be clear on this matter. Are you suggesting that the Ministry of Education, specifically the Deputy Minister, Reverend Ntim Fojo, was directly involved in this rebate?
I have been Deputy Minister of Education before. Fundamentally in this country, under our laws, children, students, pupils are placed under our care. We have on numerous occasions stopped other institutions from bringing in material that we consider unhelpful, unwholesome, illicit, inappropriate.
As Ministry of Education.
As Ministry of Education. So let us not give the Ministry of Education a pass. It is their duty. That is why and I'll come there, in the distribution of this rice, you see officials of the ministry involved, officials of the Free SHS Secretariat involved. And you see heads of these institutions signing for the rice.
When you say heads of these institutions?
That's heads of the secondary schools. Okay. You know, so the Ministry of Education has a key role, a key mandate. And they could have issued a directive that don't send this rice to our schools, and it will have been adhered to. It will have been obeyed. But let me continue with the findings of the FDA very quickly, because there are so many documents that we have to reference. So the FDA says that they also spoke to two representatives, the importer, Lamens Investment Africa Limited, namely Eli Dogbe, the operations manager, and Simon Ojay, the Ashanti regional coordinator. Mind you, these two, Eli Dogbe and Simon Ojay, who is a director of Lamens, were on location supervising that criminal enterprise of rebagging rice without approval. It's criminal. They were arrested by the Ashanti Regional Police Command.
But they had sent a letter to the FDA in respect of that, hadn't they?
No, it happened after. And I'll come to that because they are deliberately obfuscating the issues and confusing the general public.
So you're saying here and now that letter seeking permission from the FDA to rebag did not come until this had happened in the Ashanti region?
Yes.
So it was post the fact?
It was post the fact. And if you check that letter, you notice that it's dated January. Right. It was post the fact. They were hoping to get away with this criminal enterprise. And that is why I have a letter here from Lamens, the company, admitting culpability and paying a fine.
Can you read?
Let me read that. This is on the Lamens Investment Africa letterhead to Food and Drugs Authority, dated 3rd January 2024. To the Chief Executive, dear Sir, Madam, unauthorized repackaging of Moshosho rice. We refer to the above subject matter and your letter reference, FDA ASHREGADM 23099, dated 29 December 2023. We hereby attach payment receipt for 50,000 Ghana cedis, being half of the administrative charge levied on our company for infractions of sections 1031 and 1301 of the Public Health Act 2012, Act 851.
Do we know what those portions of the Act say?
Yes, I have them.
Specifically?
Yes, specific. I have them here. 1031 provides a person who manufactures, labels, packages, sells, or advertises a food in a manner that is false, misleading, deceptive, or misbranded as regards its character, nature, value, additive, substance, quality, quantity, composition, merit, or safety commits an offense. So repackaging, putting it in a different bag, ECOWAS, misbranding. Writing made in Ghana when it is not. No expiry date. Then let's look at Section 130 of the Public Health Act. It says, a person shall not manufacture for sale, sell, supply, or store products regulated under this part, except in premises registered for that. So the National Food Buffer Stock Company storage facility ought to have been registered with the FDA. It was not. So it means that that whole exercise was illegal. And they admitted to their wrongdoing, accepted culpability, and paid the fine. I have the receipt here, 50,000 Ghana cedis. This is
reflecting the earlier letter, talking about paying half the penalty of 50,000 cedis.
Yes. Even this is a scandal on its own, because I have the original memo from the FDA dated 29 December 2023 on what really they wanted to do, which unfortunately, because of pressure from above, they could not really do that.
Pressure from above being where?
What they wanted to do, one, and this.
So this letter is from where?
This is the FDA internal memo.
An FDA internal memo?
Yes.
Okay.
And which was also later on sent to Lamens on the 29th of December. What they really wanted to do, one, they said that you are therefore directed to do the following. Immediately desist from the repackaging exercise. Two, contact the office of the FDA to initiate the process of safe disposal of the 15,000 bags of bagged rice. They wanted all of it destroyed. Safe disposal. And then three, pay an administrative charge of 150,000 Ghana cedis. What we need to be
Was this an add-on to the initial 100,000 we're looking at?
Great question. So this was altered. So the disposal, which the FDA wanted to do originally, we need to be asking them, what happened? Why didn't they do that? Why didn't they carry out the destruction?
Can I have a look at this?
And then the 150,000, why was it reduced to 100,000? And even that, the company has paid only half. And have got
so was this internal memo, are you suggesting that this internal memo came before there were changes?
Yes.
Reversing some of the decisions.
Exactly. Yes.
So that 150,000 became 100,000. And now disposal was scratched.
Was totally
That's what you're suggesting?
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
How do you back this up?
I back it up because, remember the letter I read from J.J. Boyd, the Ashanti Regional Policeman, on the samples that had gone for testing. I have the test results, which came in on the 6th of February, 2024. Will you believe that before this test results, on the 6th of February 2024, another order from above had come that the rice should be redistributed to the schools. They should, first of all, release those who had been arrested. They should open up the...
That is the two in Kumasi?
Yes. Open up the NAFCO storage facility, and then the rice should be sent to the schools. So I have the letters here, Lamens Ventures, the various schools that received the rice. Presec Legon is here, 1,093 bags. They signed for it.
Is that not your, your alma mater?
But where did this order from above come from? Who exactly issued that order?
That remains a mystery, even though I have an idea. You know, because
but if you don't have
because I'm
concrete evidence,
yes,
we wouldn't want you to mention
I'm
things.
getting very close at getting the concrete evidence. But what is not in doubt is that on the 2nd of February, you can call PRESEC and find out. And the sad thing about this is that PRESEC is the regional distribution point. So when PRESEC receives the rice, all the secondary schools in Accra will go for DS. So Achimota, Accra Academy, Laboni, Accra Girls, St. Mary's, Chemu, Temu, Tema Secondary, all of them will go for it. Then I also have Konongo Dumasi SHS signing for the Ashanti Enclave. I also have St. Monica's SHS here. Then I also have Bolga Girls for the Northern Territories. It's all here, signed, 2nd February. All the 22,000 bags of rice distributed. On the 2nd of February, by the 2nd of February, the rice, which now had ECOWAS, because I called the heads, they confirmed, yeah, we received some ECOWAS. Are you saying they come, it's not ECOWAS rice? I said, yeah, it's not ECOWAS. It's not made in Ghana. It's Moshosho rice.
There's so much on my mind, but Sweetie also has a lot on her mind too.
So this is 2nd February.
Before I come back.
Can you believe that? Then the test results come on the 6th of February. I have here in my hands the submission of certificates of analysis to the Director, Regional Operations. Please find attached 6 certificates of analysis for the underlisted samples, which were submitted to the Center for Laboratory Services and Research for Quality Evaluation. Okay. And the FDA test results show that there was high insect infestation, and it says compliance statement does not conform. Then it also says that there was high fat acidity. The compliance statement is that the rice did not conform to this. So I'm not making anything up. And indeed, when you come back to the FDA's own internal investigations, it was confirmed beyond doubt that what they were doing there was totally criminal. Let me just read these portions for you. It says, the repackaging exercise was carried out without FDA's approval nor supervision. The storage facility had neither been licensed for storage nor repackaging. So you see, moving forward, even beyond this big scandal, we should be concerned about reforms. That's why I'm worried that the Chief of Staff is taking this approach. How are we going to make sure that all our storage facilities are immediately licensed, that they are FDA officials supervising? You have just been discussing a while ago cholera. It is for good reason, for health and safety, that our Public Health Act, Act 851, requires all of these health protocols to be followed. You have the National Food Buffer Stock Company, responsible for providing food to our students, millions of them, and they are not following these protocols. They have storage facilities that are not licensed. Let me continue. The facility had no qualified or trained person to supervise its activities. Damning. It says that the quantity of the storage facility in Kumasi is 23,000 by 50 kg bags, whilst that at the Limbrook bonded warehouse in Tema was 10,000 50 kg bags. Realizing how close the best before date was, Lamens Investment Africa Limited took samples of the rice to Food Research Institute to analyze for the possibility of extension of the shelf life. Having received a letter of shelf life extension from the exporter, the importer, according to the operations manager, wrote to the authority, head office, requesting for approval to repackage the said consignment of rice. However, no reply had been received prior to the repackaging. So they had no response, no approval, and yet went ahead. And you see, the fundamental question that we should all be asking, if you have nothing to hide, the rice, you believe that it is wholesome, even though I have seen videos to the contrary. I have the FDA test results, which proves contrary. Why will you be rebagging into an ECOWAS bag and lying that this is made in Ghana, engaging in such gross deception, and then violating our ally, the laws of Ghana, LI 1541. You know what LI 1541 says? Nobody in this country has the authority to sell or supply or distribute food without clearly demarcated expiry dates or best before dates. Let me read LI 15.
I think this is trite knowledge.
Yeah.
We know that this applies.
Yes.
The
Yes.
crime is the repackaging
No, just quickly. So why will our heads of schools be compelled to receive food?
Compelled?
Yes. Because some of the heads I've spoken to said they raise concerns. To be fair to them, they said, look, we raise concerns that this ECOWAS rice you are bringing to us, it doesn't have an expiry date. How do we know? Because the food is not consumed even in 1 week or 1 day. It will be in the service facility, and as dining, sometimes they go on vacation and come back. So it will be...
And they were compelled to cook this and feed students with them.
And
you can confirm that?
Yes, all the rice are in the stomachs of our children. It's all being consumed.
All the 22,000
Yes.
of rice?
Yes, it's all being consumed.
Before this FDA results came in, this is what started it, right? This
Yes.
21st December letter that this citizen wrote to the police for. But I've seen a document when the rice left the shores of India, and they stated that the rice was leaving, it was in good, quality standard and all that, and that it should be consumed by December 2024. We are yet to get to December 2024. So at what point did this person get the suspicion, inkling, that these bags of rice were, the word you use, unwholesome? Because this all happened even before the FDA results, test results came in. I just want clarity on what started all of this.
Great question. So the Moshosho rice, I have a copy here. The best before is here, December 2023. This is what the evidence that they gathered when they stormed the facility upon the tip-off and closed down the facility. So that December 2024 was after they had been arrested. And then they decided to now seek extension. And their exporters, the Indian exporter.
After they were arrested?
Yes.
It's actually the same date. The same date
the Indian exporter, Satya Balaji Rice Industries, PVT, then wrote to them that, oh, you can seek shelf life extension. You can go beyond the December 2023, which is, because remember that the main reason why they were doing the rebagging is that they knew that with this clearly demarcated best before December 2023, if they send this to the schools, headmasters won't accept it. Students will reject the rice.
Mr. Blackwell,
so that is why they had to do it.
It's getting a little convoluted, especially when you look at the differences between best before and expiry.
Yeah.
To the common man, best before means within this period. Let's say best before, what's today's date again? 19th of November.
Yeah.
It means taste, texture, other components are their best before that date.
Yeah.
You can still consume it for a certain period after that date. That is what best before means.
Yeah.
But expiry means at this time, it is toxic, it is not wholesome to consume. So that is why for some biscuits, and when you see best before, you notice that you can consume it afterwards, maybe a week, two after that, but it's a little stale, it's a little flat. So what exactly is the point on this? Because you've been referencing best before throughout.
Yes.
And I also want to know, is it possible to have a shelf life of a product and then extend it from the supplier? I want to get that right before Sweetie gets back to the dates.
Yes. So I don't know why you say it's getting convoluted. It's very clear. The Moshosho rice that they sought to rebag clearly had December 2023, not December 2024.
But this is coming from the people who actually exported the rice from India.
That is after the arrest.
Okay.
After this whole brouhaha. Now they sought to seek an extension. And then the Indians told them that it can be consumed to 2024. Remember that.
Was this scientifically proven?
So that is why the FDA had a back and forth with them. And I will go with the 6th February examination results, copies of which I have here, talking about the insect infestation, the fat acidity, and the FDA's own original plan of 29 December 2023, where they set out to dispose of this rice until they were stopped. Now, the emphasis on best before, on expiry and all of that, don't forget that rice or food that has not even approached its best before date. There are a number of factors that if you do not pay attention to, for example, you don't store them well in a good place under the right temperature, you know, yes, it can go bad. And that is why I will rely on the FDA examination results of 6 February 2024, which I have always used. Then you must also bear in mind that in this discussion, there ought not to be oversimplification. It's not just about dates. It's about a whole list of laws, protocols, which have been breached. Why?
But the dates are important.
Yes, dates are important. No, I'm not saying...
Which is why when the repackaged bags were not labeled with any date, that in itself had criminal elements.
Exactly, yes.
Because per the law, you can't do that.
Exactly. Yes, LI 1541 is very clear. But the other point that I want us to also pay regard to is the whole litany of infractions. Why is it that the NAFCO storage facility was not registered, was not licensed? 2, why is it that Lamens and NAFCO did not seek FD authorization? Act 851 is very clear. You don't engage in such an activity without FDA approval. Why is it that they didn't go for FDA approval? Number 3, why is it that the FDA, per its original 29 December roadmap, they departed from that? And as we speak, these directors have not been sanctioned properly. This 50,000 is just a slap on the wrist. I mean, look at the risk involved. Then you see, Benjamin and Sweetie, we need to also look at the track record of this company. I hold in my hands here the Auditor General's report of 2021. The Auditor General is not me. It's not the NDC caucus in Parliament. The Auditor General was carrying out its legal annual audit and discovered that this company, Lamens, is engaged in the distribution of unwholesome food. This is 3 years prior. Let me read paragraph 608. It says, in contravention of section 52 of the PFM Act 2016, Act 921, we noted that supplies of 65 bags of rice in March 2021 to Priscilla Huni Valley Senior High and Technical School and 5 cartons of carnation milk to Asakregua Senior High School by Lamens Ventures were found to be unwholesome at our time of audit in September, though the expiry date on the product was October 2021. Paragraph 609. As a result, there is the risk that the items will be served to students in times of food shortage with possible health implications. We recommended to the head of the schools to report the matter to the National Buffer Stock Company for appropriate action or be held accountable for any inappropriate disposal of the items.
There's a month's window. Yes. In September, the product was checked. Was it milk?
Yes, there was milk and the rice.
Was checked, found to be unwholesome. Though, was it an expiry date here or best before?
It says expiry date.
Though the expiry date was October 2021. Yeah. My knowledge of products also tells you that sometimes the conditions in which you store
the point I was making
can make it go bad earlier than the time, right?
Exactly.
What else makes you feel that Lamens has maybe consciously been doing this?
So they have gained notoriety. If you read the Auditor General's report, you read the PIAC report, and then you come to page 142 of the 2021 Auditor General's report. And the Auditor General says that they don't even supply according to the contract what they are paid for. They undersupply. It's paragraph 660.
I've heard of some of those in your parliamentary...
Shortfall in supply of food items. Contrary to regulation 79 of the PFM regulation 2019 LI 2378. We noted that suppliers under the National Buffer Stock Company short supplied food items to Nana Brento Senior High Technical School. Details are provided below. So from rice, mackerel, sardines, intermediate flour, cooking oil, sugar, beans, maize, peanuts, all undersupplied. And laments indicted by this Auditor General's report. You look at even how they were procured, single sourced. I keep talking about this whole business of single sourcing. You see, procurement in Ghana has become reward for party people. I have the incorporation documents here. This is a company with no track record, hurriedly incorporated on the 30th of July 2020, a few days after they are being single source. They've been given all of these contracts with the Auditor General is flagging. And then here we are. They are engaged in this criminal act. And people want to
let's leave the criminality. Let's leave
paper over. Our laws are very clear.
You know what legally it means.
At 851 is very clear.
Ablakwa, let's leave the criminality for the state agencies that will determine that to go ahead with it. Let's not be a court here. Let's leave the criminality.
I'm not being a court. I'm speaking to facts. I'm speaking to the evidence.
To the state
I'm speaking to the law. I'm speaking to the. I'm speaking to Laments. I'm speaking to Laments' own admission of guilt.
Well, Laments is not here to defend itself.
Their letter
I'm sure
is here.
If they were here, they would have a different story.
Their letter is here.
And now, in fact, the integrity of the companies has come under question. But critics say that you are exploiting this situation for, should I say, propaganda or propagandist motives. How do you respond to that? Because granted as it may, we've seen what the concern is. Feeding unwholesome foods to our students. The crime, repackaging, bags of rice that are not from ECOWAS and, selling it off as from ECOWAS. What could you have done differently without this explosive way of bringing this to light?
When I exposed the National Cathedral scandal, was I being exploitative? When I exposed the Snate Hotel purchase, without value for money, without due process being followed, was I being exploitative? The presidential travels, was I being exploitative? The host of other scandals which I put out, was I being exploitative? We need to agree in this country whether we want our members of parliament to carry out oversight or not. The whole principle of checks and balances, so that one arm of government checks the other, so that members of parliament carry out due diligence. We don't just become a conveyor belt where everything passes. We approve funds for the executive. They can go do whatever they want with our taxes. And we don't have value for money. There's no accountability. There's no transparency. We need to agree. If we think that members of parliament should not carry out oversight, we should not do due diligence. And when we see wrongdoing, we should keep quiet, or we should join the bad guys.
I don't think that is the point, but some also say that you are not always right. I think I've seen you once or twice apologize for a few things here and there before. For example, if you take the recent bit about equipment and the drip project, and I've forgotten the name of J something, and then plant pool also involved. They say, there are so many factual inaccuracies in
mention one.
But the point to be made is that you are not always right, are you?
I'm not aware of.
I have seen you, if memory serves, I've seen you apologize before on social media over one of the things you put out.
I don't recall. I take my due diligence work, my parliamentary oversight duties very, very seriously. If you have no idea how many months I've been pursuing this. And when I don't have all my documents, I don't have the evidence, which should be incontrovertible and unimpeachable, I don't go to town.
I think that's the
So we are human, we can be fallible. I have never, taken a posture of infallibility. But let's be honest that in the pursuit of my oversight duties, I have tried my human best to pursue the highest of standards, to make sure that, because you see, these are matters that, don't forget, the consequences can be dire, even on the MP who is carrying out this oversight. If it emerges that it was just a concoction, there was no basis for that, you can be sued, you can lose your seat, you can be removed from parliament. So there's great risk.
Which begs the question.
Let me
just put it in perspective.
So
with all these documents,
yeah.
pieces of evidence
Yeah.
that you've gathered, why didn't you go to courts, the police? Why the press conferences, and why engaging the media and the public actively in all of this, rather than going to court so the people, the perpetrators, are brought to book with the law? Because you've cited the Constitution, articles, this and that. Why the media? Why, and again, the explosive way of bringing this to light?
These are not mutually exclusive. And if you follow the work I do, I have always worked with institutions. National Cathedral. I went to Shraj. I'm waiting for the Shraj report, probably any moment from now. This is taking Shraj a great deal of time. Portions have gone to court, all the way to the Supreme Court, which I have won. I've never been averse to using institutions. If you take the $34.9 million ambulance spare parts scandal, which I exposed, I went to the OSP. So I think that often people are so unfair to me. They create the impression as if I only do this in the media or on social media. In my committee, the Assurances Committee, we've pursued some of these matters. In Parliament, on the floor, I've filed urgent questions. I've filed motions. We've had committees of inquiry into some of these scandals that I've put out. So it is not true that I have only resorted to the media. Even with this instant scandal, I have said that let us have an independent commission of inquiry. I am ready to appear before that commission. I have said that the Ministry of Education itself is complicit, and they cannot purport to be investigating themselves. So it is really strange. And you in the media, knowing how important the media is when it comes to transparency, accountability, the fight against corruption, you should be promoting this. You should be pleased that I'm happy to work with you in the media, with civil society organizations, because sunshine is the only way. It's the only way forward.
Samuel Okudzato Ablakwa, why do you think you are here this morning? You are here, and I see, what's interesting about Ghanaian citizens? Yeah. I read the comments, and some are furious that we are asking you the sort of questions we are. Would you prefer that he come here and we just, come, share your documents, and then go? One-sided discussion. Some of you should sometimes sit and reflect. Of course, we have to put him to the sword so that he will prove what he has. So when some of you sit there and you think the questions are simply because we feel a certain way, sometimes it's very irksome. But that is why we've given you the platform to explain yourself.
But you see, in defense to Ghanaians who feel like that, I honestly believe that often they are justified. Because in all of this matter, where is the buffer stock company? They've been allowed to get away. Nobody is interviewing them. Nobody is subjecting them to the cross-examination I am being subjected to. Where is the FDA? Where is the...
There have been interactions with the FDA.
The heads of these secondary schools...
There have been interactions with the GES.
The heads of the secondary schools who were happy to sign for rice that didn't have expiry dates or best before dates. Who is questioning them? And consistently, and you see that is why. And
do you know what? That is why. Before you make a point,
and you know that is why a lot of MPs are even staying away from oversight.
Right.
Because of all of this. And sometimes it's like I rather, I'm the one who is on trial. And those of us who are putting out the wrongdoing, who want to protect our children. My only interest in this matter is to protect our children.
Don't forget that we, sitting here, have brothers, sisters, relatives in these institutions. Another thing you should know is that sometimes journalists are blamed for, usually by people who lack the knowledge of how we work. These institutions you mentioned, apart from the GES and Kwesi Kwarteng, the very day this came out, we interacted with him. A lot of these institutions, from buffer stock to FDA and the rest, have refused to talk to us. Will you force them to talk to you?
There's a right.
Will you hold a gun to their heads?
No, there's a right to information
compel them.
And as public officials.
But you know very well that the right to information law,
yeah.
even when it comes to the Ghana Airport Company Limited, and some processes, we at Multimedia.
You struggled a lot. Yeah,
not even struggled. Till today, we still don't have.
Yeah.
So
it's quite
right?
a process. But is that right?
It is not.
Right. The Buffer Stock Company is not the private company of Abdul Wahab and Nana Boachi, who is the board chairman. It is not. They are paid by us, by the taxpayer, and they owe us a duty of care. They must be explaining to us why is it that they colluded with Laments to do this rebagging. Why are they operating storage facilities without FDA license, without FDA authorization? These are questions that they cannot escape from, that they must respond to. So I understand the angst of Ghanaians when consistently those who are violating our laws, who are jeopardizing our health, putting all of us at risk, they get away. They can even decide, I won't talk, and nothing happens to them. And then we who are going through, I mean, I could be in my constituency campaigning. I could say that, look, this, and you see, what people have not considered, if I was a very corrupt politician, you know how much I can make from some of these things, these alerts when they come to me? I decide to take this path. I am not going to be compromised. Look at all the people in the chain. There are many people in this chain who could have stopped this rise from getting to our schools.
Yet it got to our schools.
Yes, it got to our schools. If there was just one person who was willing to stand up to be counted, to protect our children, damn the consequences, we will not be where we are.
Well, at least the whistleblower put himself on the line.
He did well.
But let me get to a few more issues. I noticed that on the bag, is that the EU logo I see on the bag, apart from the ECOWAS logo? Is that the EU logo I see there?
Yes.
At the bottom?
At the bottom, yes.
I'm just asking myself, out of curiosity, what could be the liability for, because clearly the ECOWAS logo is being used.
Yeah.
I don't know about the EU logo, though I see something like the EU
something
logo.
Like that, yeah.
The liability that could, hit by misusing these logos. Yes. I don't know. I've not heard anybody talk about that.
ECOWAS,
The ECOWAS logo, when
ECOWAS
ECOWAS has nothing, and I'm saying probably. ECOWAS has nothing to do with this, but their logo used. Yeah. If the EU logo I'm seeing is also correct, then all of that. But clarify for me, apart from the logo bit, Moshosho rice, so we are saying the origin
is India.
Is Indian.
India, yes.
The name, did it come to Ghana as such?
Yes, it came as
Moshosho.
As Moshosho rice.
Okay, so registration issues are then taken out of
the bill of lading, which I shared with City, is clear. Moshosho rice from India. And you're right. Look, ECOWAS could decide to sue to protect their reputation, And then this business of made in Ghana, what does this do even to the made in Ghana drive, where we want more and more Ghanaians to patronize made in Ghana goods?
Should we even be asking why we are importing rice for our students?
Yes, exactly. Brilliant question. I have been raising that. You know that Aveime rice is in my constituency,
right?
And it has collapsed for more than 2 years now. Why should we allow Aveime rice to collapse? Local rice farmers are struggling. I had to buy a combined harvester for my rice farmers about 2 years ago. And yet, we are importing all of this rice. Meanwhile, when we came up with all of these initiatives, school feeding, buffer stock, and all of that, it was to have ready market for local farmers, local producers. Because we know, it's been scientifically proven, that our local rice is more nutritious because it's fresher, it doesn't have to go through all the many. By the time this rice gets here, from faraway places, India, Vietnam, China, and all of those, So it's a great question. Our industries are collapsing. They are struggling. And then we are busy importing.
Right.
And we will not even do it properly. I don't know if you want to
come in, but I'm curious to find, you said at the heart of all this is the well-being of our children, the students. That's why we're doing this. So what immediate action are you proposing to address the controversy? Well, it's out there already. We have the documents to back the claims and all that. But where do we go from here?
Honestly, if this was some other country, heads will have rolled long ago. the buffer stock guys have absolutely no excuse. Because remember that Lamens didn't go and do this rebagging in the MD's house or in some hideout somewhere. Or they didn't come to us, Joy, do you people have some basement? They did it in cahoots with NAFCO, the National Food Buffer Stock Company. Why are they still at post? The FDA people, I mean, they ought to be explaining all of these contradictions. Your original roadmap, you didn't follow. And then the rice, we are told, 6 February is not wholesome. Now the company manages somehow to get some other FDA documents claiming that it is wholesome. The FDA says that, according to the company, that, oh, we are giving you an extension to April 30. And yet, the headmasters were not informed. It is not on the label of the repackaged rice. How will headmasters know that the FDA limit, the expiry, is April 30? When we know that this rice is not consumed in a day. Some may be consumed beyond April, May, June, July, August. You know, so questions ought to be asked. Then I am concerned about the health of these students. With what medical doctors have told me about the long-term, medium to long-term health implications of consuming rancid rice, which is insect-infested, which has high fat acidity. Can the Ghana Health Service offer to screen all these students, those who have eaten this rice between February and now? Elsewhere, look.
The rice is wholesome, is it not? The FDA says the rice is not unwholesome.
That is what the company has put out to some media houses. The 6th February examination result I have here. I've shared it with you. It's here. It's fat acidity. Compliance statement does not conform. It's here. Insect infestation does not conform.
We have another FDA report saying that it's wholesome.
That is why I say that the FDA ought to be investigated. Why is it that it is only when these people were arrested, when they were arrested by the police, that they now later on started and suddenly they begin to get, you know, authorization, approval, and even this 6th February examination results. Why did all these institutions not wait?
In fact,
why did the government not wait?
CSIR conducted their own research from the Food Research Institute. I think they also declared that the rice,
a lot of miracles have been happening.
So it's not just the FDA.
A lot of miracles. Even the Ministry of Education. Look at how first they put out a statement. Oh, we didn't know about this. We are going to investigate. Then, less than 24 hours, they start defending Lamens. They have become, have you heard any official of Lamens? Lamens must be very happy. They are powerful defenders. The Ministry of Education, FD, others are defending Lamens. Who is defending our students? Who protects our students? The millions of students. Who speaks for them? Meanwhile, this Lamens company, indicted by the Auditor General, if they had been blacklisted in 2021, we will not be where we are. So I say that if this was some other country, health officials, public health officials, will be screening all our students by now to really be sure that they are safe and that all of these health risks from eating insect-infested rice, rice with high fat acidity, that they are okay. But this is a country where nobody cares.
I think it's safe to say that you're not going with the latest report from the FDA that says the rice is wholesome. You're sticking with the previous one from February.
Yes, because you see, I find all those things to be quite dubious. Why is it that it's only after they were arrested that they were in trouble, that their rebagging adventure was exposed, that they then decided to? Why is it that if they knew that the rice was wholesome, they had nothing to hide, why didn't they do all of these things first? What should precede the other? Shouldn't you get all of these approvals, get your extension? If it is, I've been reading the Act 851, I don't see any legal mandate for FDA to be granting these extensions. But why don't you wait for all of that first before you go and do rebagging? Why did you go and do the rebagging under the cover of that?
That definitely.
And why did you say ECOWAS, made in Ghana? Is Moshosho made in Ghana?
Ablakwa.
Why did they do that?
That definitely
no
smacks
expiry
of,
date.
and those are definitely
if you have nothing to hide, why will you do that?
So what you're suggesting, and from what we've seen, points to the fact that what I find curious, before this expose, before this whistleblower and his action, the reports we had seen from the FDA pointed to the fact that Lamens had no business going ahead with rebagging.
Exactly.
And changing labels and mislabeling and all of that.
And they were fined.
All of a sudden, the reports we are getting from the FDA and others point to the fact that, no, this was wholesome.
This was wholesome. Lamens has done
How do you reconcile the two? I know Sweetie has broached, but I want you to, how do you reconcile the two? Where do you think things are happening that are changing the script?
The same way they were ordered to be released, no prosecutions were carried out. The same way, before the 6th February arrival of the FDA certificate of analysis, by 1st and 2nd February, instructions had come that the rice should be released to the school. It's been a litany of miracles, of wonders. The wonders continue. Lamens is very powerful. They are highly connected. You think that if it's me, rice importer, I've done this, I was caught rebagging in ECOWAS, no expiry date, you think I'll be working freely?
We can be certain the reaction would have been different.
Yeah,
before we go, though, very quickly, we do know that oftentimes, if you leave it to some institutions that you expect to act, they will not act, which is why I'm going back to the point. Yeah. Will you pursue this matter in a court of law? My final bit for you.
Yes. So I've had discussions with my lawyers, and my lawyers say that there may be some challenges with capacity when you look at, in terms of the harm done on the children. That they would,
and I know exactly what.
Yes, that they will advise that it's parents or the students who should pursue.
Who take up the matter.
Should pursue that legal aspect. But for us in Parliament, our best bet is to carry out inquiries, hearings on this matter. So as a caucus, you saw at our press conference yesterday that the leadership of Parliament on our side was well represented. We've had meetings, and the relevant committees from education, health, and then assurances, we have decided that we are going to take up this matter, at least within Parliament, because there are no capacity issues that could come up. But we should encourage the Ghanaian people to take up these matters. I even want to hear CHAS moving forward. Can they put out a strong statement that from hence they will not allow, as heads of our secondary schools, for any food that does not have clear demarcations on expiry dates or best before dates to be brought into their schools, and they will not accept them. You know, the FDA, can they carry out an exercise? All the storage facilities of NAFCO that are not registered, can they close them down?
Okay.
You know, so let's see action. But I can assure you that within Parliament, we are going to push these institutions. But look, all these institutions must be bowing their heads in shame for allowing this. Buffer Stock Company should not have done this.
We're grateful for your time. Thank you for coming, and thank you for doing us the honors. Samuel Kujatwa Blakwa is the Member of Parliament for North Tong, and he joined us for this all-important conversation. We're taking a breather here. When we return, there's more action on the AM show. Do stay. Welcome back on the AM show. Before we get into our next discussion, let me tell you about Syntex tanks. In Ghana, get ready for the biggest giveaway from Syntex Tank. Now, Syntex is visiting 15 communities, giving them free water gratis. And this is to say, thank you, Ghana, for making us #1. Now, did you know Syntex was the first to introduce double-layer tanks in Ghana? Did you also know that Syntex tanks came in so many colors and that they were the first to come out with inner white layers? So, let me tell you this. If it's not Syntex, you might as well forget about it. If you're a community and you want to benefit from the Syntex free water giveaway, just log on to their social media handles, Syntex Ghana, and nominate your community. The more times you nominate, the better the chances that Syntex will come to that locality. Remember, it is SINTEX, Syntex Tank. No be any tank be tanko. The correct tank be Syntex Tank. Syntex Tank, a strong, a tough. And joining us for a conversation this morning, we're going to be talking, by the way, about cancer treatment, especially for children. And there's a major project that has been happening, I wouldn't say on the blind side of most of you, because we've had this team here talk to us often. And that's why I'm going to be engaging them this morning. Dr. Tanya Trippett, she is president and founder, Wish for Life Foundation. And joining her today, Ralph Roll. He is a Goodwill Ambassador for Wish for Life Foundation. Good morning.
Good morning. Thanks for having us.
And I was fawning on, gushing over your necklace. Lovely. Let me say that on air. But let's start with the update. You gave me some very exciting news, so I'm going to have you share with Ghanaians.
Absolutely.
This unit, where were you putting it up, and what is the status currently?
So the unit we're replacing it is in Asakam, and we have 50 acres that was donated by the Ajam of Wakwa community. And we were so excited because the team is on the ground right now. Surge Boost International is placing the perimeter wall. We've already cleared the perimeter. Now we're placing the wall around the property to prepare for the actual construction of the complex.
So you're basically saying that it's taken off?
That's right. That's right. Moving fast.
Moving very quickly.
Yes, yes.
That's good to hear. Let me bring in Ralph as well. How long have you been on board? Oftentimes it's Tanya that I interact with, but you're a Goodwill Ambassador.
Yes.
What do you make of this project?
I think it's amazing. I've been on board now about 3 years, and I've seen some amazing things happen from a handful of people, and now a very large amount of people are involved in the building of the hospital. My job as the music ambassador is to bring the musicians that I know and the new musicians that I'm meeting while I'm here in Ghana to the whole development of the music. The healing part of what music does is very important. So my goal is to bring the music family that I've worked with for so many years and the music family that I'm getting to know here together to make music for this hospital for the children.
I see. Interesting dynamics. And of course, music comes with its own healing. But where the project has got to requires even more funding.
Yes.
And like Ralph said, a lot of people have poured their resources into this. How are you funding it, and how can people donate?
So we are funding this effort through many revenue streams. We don't want any revenue stream to dry up, and so we're looking to leverage the global community. At present, we have major donors from the United States, major corporations who are coming in, both in gifts and also in monetary gifts. And what we're planning to do is to reach out to both Canada. Now we have a tentacle in Canada, and then also Europe and Ghana. So how you can give for the community gift is going to our website on www.wishforlife.org. And then we have a Momo number. So the Momo number is *718 *25 958 #.
Right. And you've also been paying a visit to the Komfanoche Teaching Hospital. You made a donation there.
Yes.
Tell us about that.
So we felt that it was important that no one feels as if we're left behind. This is a partnership. We're reaching across to join hands with all of the oncologists in the community who treat children and beginning to share knowledge and resources to make their job easier. And so we visited with Mothers for Mothers, which is one of our initiatives to help support moms who are going through this experience with cancer with their children, to give them care packages. So each of the mothers received care packages. We also donated some equipment that they need. And then also
medical
laptops.
equipment?
Yes.
I see.
And so we're really excited about moving forward. We'll begin to provide some resources both in education with our doctors and also more medically derived equipment that's important to help them.
Ralph, were you a part of the team for this visit?
Yes, it was very, very...
You also discussed collaboration.
Yes.
What came up?
One of the areas that is very important that I'm doing is something called Man Day Monday.
Okay.
Now, I understand today is International Men's Day. Is that true? Yes.
Well, not that I am aware of.
Yeah. Well, the purpose of Man Day Monday is it's a roundtable of men, and my experiences has been where men don't usually talk about their emotions or their problems.
Yeah.
But I was invited to speak at an event in my old neighborhood called Man Day Monday, and I saw what this program did for everyone that was in the room. So I want to bring that here for the men who are dealing with their children who have cancer, You know, because there's a lot of emotions for men, and they don't talk about the fact that, you know, this is hard for them to see their child go through this. This is financially hard. This is emotionally tough. And I'm trying to hold it all together. But when you're in a room full of other men that are dealing with the same types of things,
yeah,
you realize immediately that you're not alone.
Yeah.
And this could be very helpful to the structure of the household, to the forward motion, and where to get help. It's not embarrassing to ask for help or to say that you need help as a man.
There's a saying that people have, men also cry.
Yes,
and there's
absolutely.
nothing weak about that.
Not at all.
And you're right, today is actually International Men's Day. Not something I've taken note of, by the way. But Tanya, as we conclude on the conversation, you're also collaborating. First, I want you to reiterate, how can people donate? Because a lot of your donations are coming from the States, the United States, among others.
That's right.
How can maybe Big Corp in Ghana collaborate with you and help in this project? And I also know you're collaborating with local entertainers to raise funds. Tell us a bit about that.
So one of the initiatives that we would like to move forward is to leverage the culture here and begin to reach out to the entertainment community to begin to increase awareness about childhood cancer, but also this will be a way to leverage the giving and to do it in a fun way.
Yeah.
So we'll be looking at developing concerts with Ralph, and Ralph had a beautiful experience working with drummers, the traditional drummers on Sunday, which was mind-blowing to see. So we're going to leverage the music community. You'll see some concerts over the year.
Right.
We'd love for you to join. We'll have a golfing tournament in January with the Ochehini, and so we'll be looking forward to corporations participating in the golf tournament, both in January, and we're planning in September for Childhood Cancer Awareness Month.
All right, we have to run, but Ralph, I'm curious. Final words.
Yes.
What instruments do you play? Do you play any?
I play drums. I'm
Drums.
currently the drum with the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, Grammy Award-winning Nile Rodgers. And we've toured the world. Actually, tomorrow I leave for a show in Poland. And I'm still a full-time musician. I teach all over the world. I do master classes. So I'm still heavily involved. I've worked with people like Paul Simon and Sting and
You've worked with Sting?
Yeah, I did.
Oh, wow.
And
Anyway.
all of those experiences, my goal here for Wish for Life is to bring all of those relationships into the fold of what we're doing. And I believe that it will be successful.
Well, it's time to drum away
Yeah.
as we conclude the conversation.
That was a good one.
Tanya, final words. We have to go.
So your final words is this: no child should be denied the opportunity for cure of their cancer. If we have it within our power to leverage our collective voice and also our alliances. And so that's what we're going to do.
Thank you so much. And you know we're in full support of this project, which is why we always give you the time to come and talk to us about it. Dr. Tanya Trippett is president and founder of Wish for Life Foundation. And of course, the man of the moment joining the conversation today, Ralph Roll, Goodwill Ambassador for Wish for Life Foundation. Thank you for coming.
Thank you for having
me. And keep up the good work.
Thank you.
That's how we conclude the conversations this morning on the AM show. I did this together with Sweetie Abochi. But coming up next, Faustina Safo will serve you Joy News Desk. You want to stay for that. Bye-bye.